Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Now, it is a Wednesday, and the Titans are back on the practice field, and we'll talk about them here in just a little bit. But some fun stuff happened at Geodis Park last night, and it feels like a long time since we've dusted off our soccer talk around here, and I think that's a good place to start. Good morning. We're happy to have you for the next 3 hours. Robert, Lucas, me, until 1 o'clock. Brian Callahan will be at the podium. They said 11:50. Let's count on noon or thereabouts. We'll carry that press conference live for you. Cam Ward will speak to the media today, later this afternoon. You can hear that later on the station at some point between Blaine and Zach and 3HL. But Sam Surridge, Super Sam Surridge, getting it done in a big spot last night. Nashville SC getting it done in a big spot last night, but in no small part due to Sam Surridge's hat trick to get above the Philadelphia Union and advance to the 2025 U.S. Open Cup final. Lucas, what is the U.S. Open Cup for those who are unfamiliar?
The U.S. Open Cup is a competition that is played outside of the MLS regular season. It is the oldest soccer competition in America. Its first edition was in 1914. It's the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. That name might sound familiar. Lamar Hunt of the Hunt family of the Kansas City Chiefs, who basically founded this tournament, is essentially the godfather of American soccer. Lamar Hunt. There's a statue of him outside of the National Soccer Hall of Fame in Dallas.
Is Lamar Hunt the only figure in American sports to have multiple trophies named after him? Because that's what the AFC Championship trophy is.
It is the AFC Championship trophy, yep.
Okay.
That's a good question. He very well could be. But yes, so it is the oldest competition in American soccer. 96 teams started playing in the U.S. Open Cup. It goes from Major League Soccer all the way down to semi-professional teams. It is the domestic cup competition. The semifinal at Geodis Park was played last night. Nashville has made it all the way there, and despite their recent dip in form in MLS regular season play, they were able to come alive against a Philly team that they've just had the upper hand on. Philadelphia's at the top of the MLS standings, and Nashville now has played them 3 times and won all 3 in all competitions. MLS regular season play and now the U.S. Open Cup. Sam Surridge just on fire. 26 goals in all competitions this year. That 3rd goal to complete the hat trick and really put the nail in the coffin to make it 3-1. Woo, just insane placement, the turn, the touch on the ball out of the air to put it in the top left corner on a great ball over the top. And Nashville heads to the final where they will await the winner between Austin and Minnesota United. That game is played tonight. Nashville will travel, no matter what, to either Austin or Minnesota, to the final that will be played on Wednesday, October 1st, 2 weeks from today, as the club looks for its first ever trophy.
What is a more favorable matchup for Nashville SC?
Ooh, good question. I would say Austin, because they have been just generally a worse team this year than Minnesota United, who's been at or near the top of the Western Conference standings all year. But in moments like this, a team like Austin is going all out in the U.S. Open Cup. Like, that is their best shot to win a trophy in 2025. Now, Austin is on the cusp of making the Western Conference playoffs. They'll probably get in, but they could be part of a play-in game. The path to an MLS Cup would be very difficult. So I would say Austin, because Minnesota is just a better team in general. But there's no question Austin is going to really prioritize this competition to try and get a trophy. But so is Nashville. Like, that Nashville's whole thing this year and whole goal as a club is to win trophies. And they're going to be contenders in the MLS Cup playoffs, which will start here in about a month. But this one's right there for the taking, and you're officially 1 game away from the first trophy that this club has seen, that the city has seen in any competition at the top of any respective sport in Nashville.
Now, it's the only good team in the city. Say Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt and Nashville SC are the only ones who do any winning anymore at this point in time. We have not talked about the soccer team in quite some time because the fun of football season, or at least the fun of before football season starts, before the football season actually gets here and the team starts to suck again, was something that took up a good deal of oxygen around here. Understandably so. Cam Ward gets drafted with the number 1 overall pick. We're going to spend a lot of time on that. But with the last couple of months, basically since last we talked about the soccer team, what's the experience been like? Because they went through a bit of a slump after having great success throughout the course of the spring and summer. What was the thing that kind of bogged them down as they were trying to get right or trying to figure things out? And fair to expect throughout the course of an MLS season. MLS season is quite long, it feels, that you wouldn't be able to hold serve that way the entire way through. So what have they been able to correct en route to getting to the U.S. Open Cup final?
Yeah, they came into this game with a much better mentality and just overall performance than the last month and a half. They've lost 5 of their last 6 in the MLS regular season, where defensively they've been subpar, a lot of bad giveaways. They've struggled to find scoring depth behind Sam Surridge and Hani Mukhtar, who have both had phenomenal seasons. But they kind of wiped all that away against a really good opponent yesterday. And it's just a great little boost to jump back into MLS regular season play for a huge game Saturday at Orlando. Nashville is still a top 4 team in the East. And if you finish the regular season as a top 4 team, you host 2 of the 3 in that first round best of 3 series in the playoffs. So they are a top 4 team by 1 point, and Orlando is only 2 points back of them in the table. So huge game coming up this Saturday. They're going to have to snap out of the celebration from last night, turn around and go and play that tough road trip. But, yeah, these next couple months are huge. 2 of the biggest months, or the next month, I suppose, for the rest of the regular season. One of the biggest months in club history for a chance to compete for its first trophy, to finish strong. By the way, October 18th, Decision Day, which is the last day of the regular season. Messi's Miami.
Decision Day,
will be, I know, it's got quite
that sound dramatic.
Dramatic tinge to it, doesn't it? Lionel Messi's Miami will be here at Geodis Park.
Fun.
Looking forward to that and the environment that'll bring. So, yeah, things were good. Yesterday, Nashville came in poor form, snapped out of it, and they're headed to a final to play for the club's first trophy, and Sam Surridge can't stop scoring goals.
So, is there a rivalry between Nashville and Miami yet? Like, is that a thing that can be discussed in reasonable terms? Like, Tennessee and Vanderbilt are technically rivals, but nobody really thinks of Vanderbilt as being Tennessee's rival other than they play in the same state.
Yeah, those games have had quite a tension to them, I would say. Yes. I mean, they've obviously played in a final, Leagues Cup final here, a couple years ago, which was insane. But those games have been chippy. They've been competitive. Really, since the beginning, they both kind of came into the league at the same time. Nashville was better at the early onset. Miami was, quite honestly, a dumpster fire in the beginning. And then they bring in Messi and this new contingent. And obviously, they're one of the hardest teams to beat because Lionel Messi is still Lionel Messi. But yeah, I would absolutely call it a rivalry. I'd say Miami, Orlando, and Atlanta, and you could lump Cincinnati in there, are probably the games that bring the most sort of animosity, just organic animosity in 90 minutes. And they've got one of them this weekend at Orlando.
So soccer feels like it has a lot of trophies.
Yeah.
This is a segment where Lucas explains to me soccer like I'm dumb, because I am soccer dumb. And I'm dumb in many other things, but soccer in particular. I don't have a high degree of education in all the different things that can be acquired here. So the U.S. Open Cup trophy, where is that on a scale of American soccer trophies that can be won?
On a scale in terms of importance?
Yes.
So I would say it is, you want to win your league, first and foremost. Like, if any honest MLS coach or player says, if you had to win one trophy this year, what would it be? You'd say, I want to win MLS Cup, right? U.S. Open Cup is a notch under that, but still, when you find yourself in a semifinal 2 games away, it's of extreme importance at that point because the trophy's right there within grasp. Whereas earlier on in the U.S. Open Cup, when you're playing a Wednesday round of 32 game in the U.S. Open Cup before having to turn around and play a tough MLS game Saturday, you're probably going to rotate your squad a good bit. But at this point, you're going full strength all out to win a trophy. But I'd say it goes MLS Cup, winning your league is first and foremost, and then U.S. Open Cup because of the history of the competition and what it means to American soccer. And if you win U.S. Open Cup, it qualifies you for CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is the continental North American competition. And if you win CONCACAF Champions Cup, likely beating a Mexican team in the final, then that is the highest level that you can reach as a North American club. So winning this competition puts you into that competition, which only the best clubs in North America play in year to year. Nashville played in it. They qualified for it a couple years ago when they made the Leagues Cup final and went to CONCACAF Champions Cup the following year. They haven't been since because they haven't been able to qualify. This is one of those mechanisms that will qualify you for CONCACAF Champions Cup.
I feel like we should make up our own cup. I feel like we should make up our own trophy. I feel like there's a lot of trophies floating around. I feel like nobody would know the difference. I feel like we could fool the audience into thinking that there's a cup that exists that's not actually out there.
Like for who? For
I don't know. I feel like the show should come up with a cup.
For who to participate in?
I don't know.
What do you want to call it?
I haven't decided yet. I'll workshop that through the break. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Dumbest thing in sports this week at 11 o'clock. We will get to that. Like I said, Brian Callahan's press conference later on in the show. Do I have things in the nebulous prize bucket to give away? Are there things that have been assigned, or will we have to wait until 10:55 before somebody actually does their job?
The highly sought-after Bailey Zimmerman tickets are making another appearance.
Okay.
People love them some Bailey Zimmerman, I guess.
That, or we have so many Bailey Zimmerman tickets to give away that we just can't stop giving away Bailey Zimmerman tickets. But that's fine. At 11 o'clock, not yet. NFL headlines?
Let's do it.
That's next.
It's time for NFL headlines with Lucas Panzica.
Injuries. We have quarterback injuries. It's not even week 3 in the NFL season, and multiple starting quarterbacks are either out or at best in doubt for the upcoming week. We already knew Brock Purdy was set to miss 2 to 5 weeks with turf toe. So put that aside. We already knew Joe Burrow was set to miss 3 months with turf toe that will require surgery. We found that out a couple of days ago. J.J. McCarthy has an ankle injury. He is unlikely to play when the Vikings take on the Bengals this week. So we'll start there, that we could very well get Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning this weekend instead of J.J. McCarthy versus Joe Burrow.
That's an ultimate, all right, show me something, Kevin O'Connell.
Noon kickoff on CBS in Minnesota.
If you can do it with Carson Wentz, Kevin O'Connell, then you got something cooking there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to put the quarterback expertise to the test. And it's one of those things where, you know, it's almost like Levis, where you can do all the things. Now, obviously, Wentz has been a more successful quarterback than Will Levis ever was at any point in his professional career.
And by the way, J.J. McCarthy had a bad day on Monday night.
He looked like he did for the first 3 quarters of that Bears game where he's just swimming, right? And then he figures it out. He throws 2 touchdown passes. He runs for another one against the Bears, and everybody's like, who's this guy?
Yeah, that part didn't happen in Atlanta.
Yeah, and fair to expect that it will be less and less likely that happens. Now, this is the other part of the Vikings' decision to move on from Sam Darnold, who threw his 100th touchdown pass on Sunday, I saw. You were in very good hands with Sam Darnold because he was durable. I don't know that these injuries for J.J. McCarthy, where he blew out his knee last year, now he's got an ankle sprain, but the availability of it matters. And if these things start to compound, it'll obviously cost them opportunities to win games with the quarterback that they decided to go all in, or their version of all in on. But going back to the Levis part of it, Wentz is, to me, a bit like Levis in the idea that it seems like he's fine in the week leading up. He seems like a fine practice player. Seems like he understands the concepts in the meetings. He's played a lot of football at this point in his career. And then if he gets into a game, he's backed up in his own end zone. He'll try to switch hands with the ball and throw an interception left-handed. Like, that's kind of the thing that you have to protect yourself against. I don't know how you do that successfully in game when you can't trust your quarterback to make good choices.
Speaking of Will Levis, with quarterback injuries stacking up all over the NFL, doesn't this kind of put another spotlight on the decision to hold out all through the offseason, and then on report day, or the day before report day, announce that you're going to have season-ending shoulder surgery? Like, I don't know that the Vikings would rather have Will Levis than Carson Wentz as their backup.
Somebody might.
Right? Somebody might, though. And these injuries are piling early on in the season. I wonder if you're Will Levis, or if you're the Titans, you're kind of sitting back, maybe grumbling a little bit, because maybe you could have gotten a draft pick out of that situation if Levis didn't choose to shut it down.
Yeah. It's a bit of a...
It's mystifying. Like, I can't even wrap my head around it.
It's not really. It's kind of a middle finger to the organization.
A middle finger that, like, potentially punishes yourself? Like, that's what I don't get the benefit for Levis here.
He's chilling in California with soldier rehab. He's playing golf. Like, Will Levis doesn't seem terribly bothered by the entire situation.
I guess a middle finger that cuts out any chance that you have at a fresh start to move somewhere this year to compete for a starting job. You would rather sit out and not play football for a calendar year.
There's a great many things that he does that are confusing to me. This is just one of many.
Okay, so it is mystifying. We're on the same page. Like,
I'm not saying that there's one good thing here for him, other than, he gets to take a step back and gets to be away from all of this. And I think that somebody in his situation, with as much as he literally and physically imploded, mentally imploded last year, that maybe there is some good to him being away from football for a while. But if that's the case, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because he's in his 3rd year.
Like, is demand going to go up for him because he took a year off after nuking the offense last year? Like,
if you're his agent, there is some logic to that. Like, okay, maybe if he's just gone for a little while, maybe people will forget just how disastrously bad it was.
I guess, man. I'm just having some degree of.
I mean, obviously, the city of Nashville will never forget how terrible Will Levis was at quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, but the rest of the league, there's a million different things going on. I think there is some logic to, okay, if he's just out of the spotlight, maybe people will forget.
So, Joe Burrow out for most of the season. I guess he could come back week 16, thereabouts. Robert, can we hear from Dan Orlovsky yesterday on ESPN comparing Joe Burrow potentially to another recent star quarterback that had injuries piling up in his career?
Yesterday needs to change the Bengals' organizational philosophy for the remainder of Joe Burrow's time. Honestly, it should impact all of the NFL because it feels like Joe Burrow is trending towards becoming this generation's Andrew Luck in a way. And the conversation around Andrew was all the hits. And through those first 5 or 6 seasons, look at them. The times the quarterback gets hit, look how much they're getting hit in relation to how often they're dropping back, how many sacks they're taking, and then the percent of pressure that they're dealing under. So we are calling the Raiders-Chargers game. And in talks with Coach Harbaugh yesterday, the thing that stood out was when he said to us, all I think about is, I have to protect Justin Herbert. That's all I think about. Because if I protect Justin Herbert, we can go to the Super Bowl and win it. And the Bengals have to look at that and go, we haven't committed to doing that organizationally. We haven't. You just heard Fields say it. If I'm a team in the NFL, I'm paying attention to it and going, I am learning from that because I don't want my young player, my quarterback, to have that similar experience.
Well, I mean, we did talk about that on Monday. Like, it does feel like there are parallels there. Obviously, there was an organization that got away with it at quarterback for long enough, and as a quarterback who, I mean, Burrow is different than Luck, though. Luck would take some punishing hits. He would also deliver punishing hits. Like, Andrew Luck would lower his shoulder and go through somebody. He's a lot physically bigger, or at least when he was still playing, he's a lot physically bigger than Joe Burrow was.
Whose situation was worse? Offensive line. In the first, Burrow is what, in year 6?
It's 100% the Bengals. There's no way. Like, they've had one of the
Quentin
worst.
Nelson and Andrew Luck played together for some period of time, right? Ryan Kelly and Andrew Luck played together. Those are good offensive linemen that have been in the league for a long time. I know Ryan Kelly's no longer in Indianapolis. He's a Viking, I want to say.
Yeah.
So there were, I mean, Anthony Costanzo played with Andrew Luck. Like, these are, name me a good Bengals offensive lineman.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years. Like, Quentin Spain is out there starting games in front of Joe Burrow. Titans legend.
Like, Orlando Brown isn't bad, but it's everyone else. Like, an offensive line is not one player.
Yeah, but he's also not very good. Like, he's not as good as his contract would indicate that he is.
I don't think that's true. They got him for a deal. Like, when he got cut from the Chiefs, and remember, he didn't have anywhere to go. It was at late in free agency. They got him for, relative to what offensive linemen are, he is a deal, but he is the shiniest turd in that position group.
So I am inclined to agree with Robert that Joe Burrow's situation is worse. Now,
That's
Joe Burrow,
insane that the offensive line just in Cincinnati, we're in year 6.
Now, they tried. Like, to their credit, they've tried. They just haven't been able to fix it, right? This is kind of the John Robinson complex. Like, they chased offensive line for a couple of different years, and they got it wrong. Like, they just got it wrong.
So ACL for Burrow his rookie year, 10 games into his rookie year. 2023, it was the calf, if I remember correctly, that plagued him during training camp.
He came in with a calf, and then he had some kind of, what is it, a thumb injury or wrist injury?
He
That's right.
tore a muscle in his wrist against the Ravens in the second game against them, I believe.
Yeah.
And now a bad case of turf toe.
Yeah, with ligament tears.
Yeah, that sounds
gnarly.
Painful, man. That sounds terrible.
Do you see, by the way, an aside, I don't know if this is in the headline, so forgive me if I'm robbing you, but you see McVay tore his plantar fasciitis? Or plantar fascia.
Yes, that was part of this.
On the sideline.
On the side, he didn't specify what moment it was or what, but yes, Sean McVay also potentially having to go on IR. How much? Like, that's a foot thing, right? Like, how much does that hold you back?
I mean,
like, is he going to have to be crutching around on the sideline?
So I don't think he needs crutches, but he'll probably, if he wants it fixed correctly, a boot. Because I've actually done this before. You need to, like, it's one of those things that you roll the bottom of your foot on a tennis ball to help deal with it as the ligament heals. Now, I don't know if mine outright snapped. I just put a boot on it, and I was pretty good within a week and a half. I'm sure there's different degrees of severity. I remember Peyton Manning at the end of his career had a pretty gnarly one.
Someone get him a stool, Derek Dooley style.
We're talking about Joe Burrow or
no, this is
Sean McVay.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. The other trick is I also have plantar fasciitis. So if you freeze a water bottle and then roll your foot on the frozen water bottle, killer. Game changer.
Okay. Let's get you in touch with Sean McVay. Jaden Daniels.
NFL recovery people, not good enough. Me and Robert not providing all our homegrown.
Yes, you should freeze a water bottle and use that to assist you.
Let's take more health and wellness advice from the man drinking out of what was that thing that you're drinking your chia seeds out of?
Chia seeds?
No.
Oh,
the vessel that contains
flask,
the
square
It's a giant
flask.
plastic flask.
It's not a flask. It looks like something that should be behind a toilet, like a tank.
Yes, my chia tank. Yes. Love you, Sean.
Jaden Daniels seems like he's set to miss the Commanders game against the Raiders this weekend. Marcus Mariota is going to be the quarterback meeting with the media today.
Revenge game against the Raiders.
Rather than Jaden Daniels. They haven't ruled him out or anything like that, but he is dealing with a knee injury. The Commanders host the Raiders for a noon kickoff on Sunday.
I want to see Mariota play. Like, obviously, it sucks that Jaden Daniels is hurt.
And he'll be against another one of his former teams.
Yes, revenge game. Thank you for listening. I am Marcus is good for like one or two of these a season, right? Where he can still come in and do it if he doesn't have to play for extended periods of time. So I'm not, rooting on the downfall of Jaden Daniels by any stretch of the imagination, but purely for entertainment purposes only, I would love to see Marcus get a start.
So of these injuries, Joe Burrow aside, because that seems like it's going to be the longest one, which team could experience the most fallout from this? Like, which team will be hurt the most?
Vikings.
Vikings, Commander. Yeah. I mean, the Commanders have a solid backup situation with Marcus. What about the Niners? Mac Jones balled out last weekend. Yeah, 3 touchdown passes. He was excellent.
He looked like the player that Kyle Shanahan wanted to draft instead of trading up for Justin Fields. Remember that being a whole thing?
What a full circle moment there for Kyle Shanahan. That's who you said, Justin Fields?
Yeah.
Trey Lance is who they ended up taking. But yes, famously, he talked himself out of Mac Jones. That hadn't even struck me until you said that just now. What a beautiful full circle moment for Kyle Shanahan.
Brock Purdy, all of a sudden, they're dicing teams up. Like, they're 2-0. They're 2-0 without any players. They're without Kittle. They're without Purdy. Trent Williams is not playing his best football. They're without Ayuk. Like, it's crazy.
He was 26 of 39 for 279 and 3 touchdowns, Mac Jones. And a win over the Saints, granted, 26-21. They had to escape.
Saints still good on defense. Good enough.
And who did the Niners? Week 1, the Niners beat the Seahawks in an impressive win in Seattle, where Brock Purdy is still undefeated.
Yeah, so Bengals, Jake Browning can do it, just did it. And I know Travis Hunter pass interference basically set the Bengals up for the opportunity to win that game. But
yeah, Jags blew that game.
I trust Mariota more than I trust. Who's the Jets backup?
Tyrod Taylor.
Ooh.
And that's another one. Justin Fields dealing with concussion. So we'll see if Taylor ends up playing as the Jets go to the Bucs this week.
Yeah, it's probably a push between Marcus and Tyrod Taylor at this point in their careers.
Is it? Are we going with?
Because I'm good on Wentz. I just don't trust Carson Wentz at all under any circumstances.
Do we say Tyrod or Tyrod? Where did we ultimately land on that?
It is technically Tyrod.
It's Tyrod.
But how you going to name him Tyrod and be mad at us?
Well, I don't trust any of these things now because there was a whole thing in the offseason during training camp, during joint practice.
Don't take it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you save it. Robert, I have great news.
What's the great news? No. I will poo all over this too. Go ahead and get the spiel, and I'll tell you why I'm mad about it.
The National Football League has announced it is entering. I love how you can see my screen. You can see what I was going to do. It is entering into a multi-year deal with Crocs.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be great if they had Ravens Crocs. 17 teams got Crocs.
Oh, no.
Everyone else gets a little.
Who are the 17?
You name them: Bears, Steelers, Chiefs, Eagles. The biggest teams got them. The Ravens did not. Bengals got them. The thing that I think is cool is in cold weather cities, their Crocs were fur-lined. So Bills got fur-lined. Bears got fur-lined.
Can't find a list. I just see this picture.
I signed up, went to the website, and they don't have them. I was already going to pre-order them.
Bills, Bears, Bengals, Cowboys, Broncos, Lions, Texans, Chiefs, Raiders, Dolphins, Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Niners.
it seems like they prioritize the Crocs that they could stick like their little widgets on to try to upsell people. So like the Dolphins has a giant fin that you would put on top of the Crocs. The Bears have like long bear toenails that would come out of the end of the Crocs. The Vikings have like the Viking horns. Now I don't know why they couldn't give you a raven's beak or wings, but it's okay. I'll just keep sporting the same black regular ones that I've had for since the beginning of time.
My house shoes were in the car when we got ready to go to Knoxville, and he tried to stick his feet in them.
I got my toes in before he got upset.
Would it be cheaper for me to get fur-lined Crocs or just to keep buying the Uggs
Fur-lined
house
Crocs.
shoes? Really?
Fur-lined Crocs, 100%.
What are house shoes? Like slippers?
Yeah, essentially.
Just say slippers.
They've got like traction on them.
Yeah,
like
it's not
they're
just
not
like the soft
like
ones.
little things that you just slide on that are in hotels for you to get out of the shower. Like they're actual shoes.
Why does God give his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers? Like, just give me some Ravens Crocs, dude. I literally sleep in these. I wear these every day.
Foul.
Makes no sense to me.
It's true. Like, there's no NFL fan on the planet that deserves a Croc with his team on it more than Robert Walsh.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
I mean, find me another person that's as obsessed with their favorite NFL team and Crocs as Robert Walsh. You're not going to find him.
No, I'm sure there's a cross-section somewhere.
The Washington Commanders are signing Preston Smith to bolster their defense. The veteran pass rusher reunites with the team that drafted him about a decade ago. He's 32 years old. Obviously, this is a name that was brought up in relation to the Titans. Jeff Darlington in the offseason said, hey, here's a name to watch for the Tennessee Titans to bolster their pass rush. That didn't happen. So is Zadarius Smith gone. Preston Smith gone. He is a Washington Commander.
I am curious to know. I need to look up the team pass rush win rates right now because they do it by team, not just by individual player. Okay, here we go. So for a pass rush win rate ranking, this is curious. Who do you think the number one team in terms of pass rush win rate is right now?
The Atlanta Falcons.
No, but that looks like it's paying dividends at least early.
They got to be pretty high on the list.
James Pierce has had a nice start to the season.
Houston Texans are the number one team in terms of pass rush win rate.
Okay.
2 is Broncos. They don't have these things chronological or in numerical order. 3 is Seahawks. 4 Rams. I'm looking for the Commanders here. Commanders are 17th in terms of team pass rush win rate.
James Pierce, I believe, if I saw this stat correctly, is 3rd in the NFL in pass rush win rate.
I'm sorry, say that again?
No, it was tough to say the first time I can't say
I didn't quite hear
pass rush win rate.
He said James Pierce Jr. is 3rd in the NFL.
James Pierce Jr. is pass rush win rate. In pass rush win rate. It's hard to say.
It's like rivalry week. I have to slow down like I'm going to hit a speed bump every time I try to say it.
He's had a nice start to the season, James Pierce Jr. Byron Young has had a nice start to the season. A few former Tennessee players defensively are off to a nice start. Jalen McCullough is getting in on that Rams pass rush from his safety spot as well.
Jeff is second in terms of defensive tackles in that category. It's Milton Williams, Jeff, Jaron Reed of the Seahawks, Kalijah Cansey of the Bucks, and then Deron Payne in Washington are the top 5. So, at least in the early going, Jeff's having success. But they need somebody. It can't be a one-man show. Like we've seen this before. Just talking specifically to the Titans. Anything else?
That is all I got.
All right, very good. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to join the conversation. We'll do some SEC observations here in just a second. Like I mentioned, Brian Callahan's press conference is expected. They said 11:50. I'm going to assume he's going to be late, so we'll say 11:55, noonish. We'll probably break a little early just to make sure that we can get as much of it as humanly possible. SEC observations are next.
Let's talk about carnage. That's what the SEC has been through the first couple weeks of the season. All of the names folks were throwing out there, the favorites to get to Atlanta to represent the SEC in the college football playoff, whether it was Texas, whether it was Alabama, South Carolina was a trendy underdog, Florida, a team everybody said is going to make that leap with Billy Napier this year, DJ Lagway at quarterback. All of those teams find themselves at the very bottom of the conference when it comes to the vibe check. Just checking in on the fan base. Hey, how you doing? How you feeling after 2 to 3 games? I don't know that there is a single fan base in the SEC that feels worse than South Carolina, Texas, Florida, Alabama. Maybe Kentucky, because they are absolutely lifeless. If anything, I imagine that is apathy setting in from Kentucky fans. So it leaves us thinking the SEC feels wide open in 2025 and asking who's got the best vibes right now as we head into week 4.
Oh, I think it's the 2 teams that are playing this weekend. I think it's Auburn and Oklahoma. Vibes seem pretty good. You know, for 2 teams. I mean, we talked about 2 of the coaches who are coming in with the most scrutiny and pressure on them from, internal pressure from their respective programs beyond just the external talking points that were going to be had at SEC Media Days and the lead up and all these different things. And Hugh Freeze, is he going to get it right? Jackson Arnold. Maybe they're not the best because Georgia's probably riding pretty high coming off that win at Neyland on Saturday that we were all in attendance for. But why can't the vibes be pretty good with Auburn and Oklahoma?
I think Auburn fans are probably, and Vanderbilt, Auburn fans, I imagine, are probably still in a wait and see. That's season's gotten off to a nice start, but okay, show us this weekend. When you talk about storylines for this week, none are more interesting than Auburn at Oklahoma. Oklahoma obviously benched Jackson Arnold early last year after the Tennessee game. He transfers out. Now he leads Auburn into his former school to play at Memorial Stadium. This was a wild game last year. Auburn had a double-digit lead at home. Peyton Thorne threw multiple interceptions late. Their turnover issues came back to bite them. Oklahoma stormed back, won on the Plains. Jackson Arnold was not playing quarterback for Oklahoma at this point. He had already been benched. He was watching from the sideline. But the narratives, the storylines around this game are fascinating because, yes, vibes are sky high with Oklahoma. They have the feel of a contending team this year. That Brent Venables defense combined with John Mateer, and he has been as advertised since coming over from Washington State along with his offensive coordinator. Now they get a chance to show it against a real SEC defense. Auburn, I think, is still a wait-and-see vibe. You're right about Vanderbilt. To me, Vanderbilt's fan base has to be the most thrilled in the Southeastern Conference. Seth Emerson does his vibe rankings every week in the SEC of The Athletic. I always enjoy reading these. Who do you think he had number 1?
Oh, I think Georgia.
He has Texas A&M.
Okay.
Number 1, after a 41-40 win over Notre Dame. They were 9 in his rankings last week.
Where is Georgia?
3 for him. Vanderbilt is 2. He writes about Texas A&M. Coach Mike Elko may have the juice. So may quarterback Marcel Reed. And the Aggies have the kind of marquee non-conference win that could get them into the playoff, even if they only go 10-2, which is doable when you look at their schedule. Notre Dame lost this game in many ways, but the most glaring was the mishandling of the extra point snap that enabled Texas A&M to go down the field, score on 4th down, and kick an extra point to win by 1 point. The holder for Notre Dame is one Tyler Buckner, who many will remember was a starting quarterback for Notre Dame and then transferred to Alabama, started a game for Alabama, that infamous USF game down in Tampa a couple of years ago. Transferred back up to Notre Dame where he said, I'm going to play lacrosse. Now he's back playing football again. He's a backup quarterback and holder for the Fighting Irish. And he's not even the backup quarterback. That's Kenny Minchie, the local product out of Pope Prep.
I love that. And I love that college football presents us with so many of these. I mean, that's an extreme version, but just.
Well, I remember what he looked like from when he was at Alabama. So I did a double take when the camera kept going to the holder that botched the snap of the Notre Dame game. And I was like, is he still around? So poor Tyler Buckner back into the college football headlines for all the wrong reasons. But yeah, Texas A&M has to feel good right now. Marcel Reed had such a fascinating performance, another local guy out of NBA, because when you look at his box score, nothing really jumps out. Marcel Reed ended up going 17 of 37. So his completion percentage wasn't great. He did throw for 360, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Also ran for 37 yards. But it's the way that he stepped up in that moment that has to give Texas A&M fans confidence. And their upcoming schedule is intriguing as they host Auburn, they host Mississippi State, and they host Florida in their next 3 games. They are off this weekend. So there's just such a wide open field right now in the SEC where the favorites, Georgia aside, all of the favorites, Texas, Alabama, are, I won't say toiling, but looking around like, okay, are we going to get this figured out? Season has not gone according to plan at the beginning. And here's Texas A&M, who has that marquee non-conference win early on in a navigable schedule down the stretch. Here's Vanderbilt, who's 3-0 and has a clear path to being 5-0 by the time they go to Tuscaloosa for a rematch against Alabama after knocking them off at home last year. Here's Georgia, who just showed that Mike Bobo and this Georgia offense can go toe-to-toe with pretty much any offense in the country in that win at Neyland Stadium last weekend. Oklahoma, who's got a Heisman contender at quarterback and is undefeated. Even Mississippi State, who is out here 3-0, about to double their win total from last year if they just beat Northern Illinois this week. The offense has a pulse. Bo Pribula is balling out at Missouri. They're unbeaten to this point. Tennessee, obviously, has so much more than they expected on their hands with Joey Aguilar. And all the other teams we expected to be talking about at the top of this conference are not at that point. LSU is unbeaten, but there kind of seems to be this nervy tension around LSU right now that is very interesting, where their defense has played really well. Garrett Nussmeier hasn't been what they expected him to be, the Heisman contender.
Well, and Pate pointed out why.
And he's dealing with some injuries. So LSU is kind of in a tenuous place. I think Auburn fans are in a tenuous place. They want to see it some more proof of concept. Ole Miss is in a tenuous place. It's great that Lane Kiffin's putting up points with a backup quarterback, but they weren't convincing against Kentucky. They weren't convincing against Arkansas. That defense leaves a lot to be desired. So this has been the most interesting topsy-turvy start to the season that we possibly could have had in the Southeastern Conference, and the vibes are all over the place. And Oklahoma-Auburn is going to be a big vibes hinge point game on Saturday for Auburn fans to learn how real is this, and for Oklahoma fans to learn the same thing with John Mateer and that group under Brent Venables.
Trying to decide who the vibes are worse around, because it feels like Texas. Like the Arch Manning having to come out and talk about he's vowing to be better. We've mentioned the reporters in Steve Sarkisian's press conference who bring up some of these screenshots that you'll see of Arch Manning throwing on television during games where he's clearly wincing, which would indicate some level of discomfort, if not outright injury. Sark has asked about it. They're publicly batting that down. He's providing weird rebuttals like, I don't take pictures of your face when you're in the bathroom doing whatever it is that you're doing, as if that's even remotely connected. What are we talking about, Sark? But I mean, of all the South Carolina, because what's the Lenora Sellers timeline here? Do we think there's a chance that he's going to be ready this week? Probably not.
We'll see what the availability report says today. Concussion protocol.
Florida.
Yeah, Texas or Florida to me have the worst vibes in the conference.
And I feel like it's Texas because, and if for no other reason, and it's not Texas's fault that the entire college football consuming and arguably sports consuming world just gravitated to the last name Manning and made that all a huge part of the offseason discourse. And Paul Feinbaum saying best thing since Tebow, this, that, and the other. Like all of the gaslighting. You want to talk about gaslighting? I guess we were talking about during the commercial break. But like gaslighting of people or college football fans, Texas feels like it was the most gaslit. Or people were gaslit most about Texas, not through any fault of Sarkisian or Arch's, but all the dialogue around Texas because it's a huge program. It's a huge fan base. People are understandably excited about the idea of national championship or bust, except that's not the way that bust is the way that it feels like it's going.
It's not even that Arch Manning isn't playing to the level that the expectation level that was placed on him, which was sky high. Like, it's not even that. He's playing below the level of an average SEC starting quarterback. Yeah. Like, he's missing layups routinely early on in the season, not just against that Ohio State defense, but against the likes of UTEP just last weekend. So Texas
San Jose State
has Sam Houston State coming up this weekend before going to Florida and hosting Oklahoma. So the next 3 weeks, really next 4, because they have a bye week before the Florida game, are huge for Texas in the direction of their season. Quickly, there was some news on 3 Sports yesterday, put this out there, that Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia's attorney, this is straight from On 3 Sports, the tweet, Diego Pavia's attorney has set the stage to challenge the NCAA for a 7th season of eligibility. Pavia quote tweeted it with a cap emoji.
Translate.
As the kids say, lie, and said, "This is my last year," with the handshake emoji. So it's the last dance for Diego Pavia, as announced by the man himself.
So he says.
He says.
It's like the Myles Garrett, what the Browns plan at quarterback thing. Like, I always take what players say publicly with a grain of salt, especially college. There's so many moving pieces and parts. Like if Pavia changed his mind and was like, yeah, I think we could get him next year, and comes back for a 7th season of some level of college football, it would not outright shock me.
Big game this weekend, Florida down in Miami. Miami looks like a national championship contender. Florida trying to avoid a spiral down there, a 6:30 kickoff on Saturday.
So we have Bailey Zimmerman tickets to give away, but we are not going to just give them to you if you call us. So pay attention, because Robert is going to be very frustrated if you call him without a submission for the dumbest thing in sports this week. But if you give us the single dumbest thing in sports this week, we will give you 2 tickets to an upcoming Bailey Zimmerman concert, 615-737-1045. Again, the dumbest thing this week in sports is next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical is here to serve you, just like they have served Middle Tennesseans for multiple decades at this point. You want to be able to trust the people that you are working with if you have some kind of emergency, because nobody wants to deal with a plumbing or HVAC or electrical emergency. Those things are wildly inconvenient and can affect you for days on end if you don't have somebody that you trust. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed correctly, or if somebody's just trying to sell you a piece or a part that you may not necessarily know enough about. So that's where Hiller comes in. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical has been in business for over 35 years. Family owned and operated. Their techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time, so you don't waste your time waiting around for someone to show up. A 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be, or the service is free. That's the Happy Hiller promise. Book online now at happyhiller.com today.
It is 11:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Nashville Soccer Club is headed to the U.S. Open Cup final after a 3-1 win over Philadelphia in the semifinal at Geodis Park on Tuesday. Sam Surridge with a hat trick. The final is on October 1st. Nashville will face the winner between Austin and Minnesota, who will play tonight. Titans are back on the practice field today ahead of the AFC South opener against the Colts on Sunday. Brian Callahan will meet with the media coming up at noon. You can hear that live right here on The Zone. In NFL news, the Washington Commanders are signing free agent pass rusher Preston Smith. The 32-year-old returns to the organization that drafted him in 2015. And Jets head coach Aaron Glenn has announced that quarterback Justin Fields will be ruled out this week as he deals with a concussion. It'll be Tyrod Taylor starting for the Jets against the Buccaneers. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
It most certainly is. 615-737-1045. Call that number. Give us the dumbest thing in sports this week. If you do, if you pick the single dumbest thing in sports this week, if you blow our minds with a level of stupidity of someone or something in sports, we will give you 2 tickets to an upcoming Bailey Zimmerman concert. 615-737-1045. Mine is Instagram Live and athletes who live stream after surgery. This happened here once, if you'll remember, AJ Brown with I think he had a double knee scope, if I remember the exact procedure, and then proceeded to pop on his Instagram Live, and it was funny. And he was talking about surgery at a time when Mike Vrabel and John Robinson were still running the Titans, and talking about injuries publicly is almost a death sentence in that circumstance, but, no harm, no foul. Funny moment. AJ, a little bit innocent. Jaden Reed did the same thing after he broke his collarbone. I guess the dumbest thing in sports this week is the ability to live stream from your phone at any given point. And I say that as somebody who regularly does live streams and is currently doing a live stream right now as the radio show is simulcast. But the need to immediately pop on, drugged up, and update everybody with what's going on in your life, it feels like it has the opportunity for more harm than good. So I'm not mad at Jaden Reed. It's just like, maybe not, bud.
That injury is significant, right?
Broken collarbone.
Yeah.
He's going to miss some time. He's going to miss probably a month and a half.
And they're not dealing with any other injuries at receiver, right? Christian Watson was in the news recently, but that's because I think he added a year to his contract.
I don't remember the exact details on that. I don't think the Packers have any other wide receiver injuries off the top of my head. They did, at least not coming out of that Thursday night game, no?
They did give him an extra year on the back end so he can worry about rehabbing, yes.
Right. Watson is returning from ACL surgery. That's right. That's what it was. Okay. So Packers dealing with some injuries at receiver.
Everybody is.
My dumbest thing in sports this week took place in the post-game press conference after LSU's 20-10 win over Florida in Baton Rouge on Saturday. This was an exchange right out of the gates. The first question in the post-game presser with LSU head coach Brian Kelly.
Right in the back. I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
I am not a Brian Kelly fan. We've talked about this.
Famously.
I look at him and watch him talk and carry himself, and I wonder how in the world does he get 18 to 22-year-olds to go out there and play football for him? I can't for the life of me figure it out.
Well, you're also petulant, so.
Well, again, stone, glass houses, the whole deal, pot, kettle black.
No, I know that about you because I can identify the same behavior. I see it every day when you're looking up what kind of chicken you want to make at the end of the show because you're bored.
I mean,
How'd that pan sauce go?
Yeah.
I ended up eating some leftover Thai food. Michael Cobble was the reporter asking that question.
Yeah.
So there's no problem with the question. Like, LSU hasn't gotten off to the red hot start on offense that they expected to. They've also played some elite defenses. I have no problem with the question. But I'm kind of with Brian Kelly on this.
No, he's right. Brian Kelly's right.
To lead with it, like, it's aggressive. What's wrong with your offense? Like, they just won a game. 20 points against the Florida Gators, who, yes, the vibes are bad right now. It's also one of the best defenses in the country. The issues with Florida are game mismanagement, coaching, offense, a quarterback underperforming, not the defense. Far from the problem. And to keep following up with the, okay, what about third down? Why are you guys so bad on third down? All fair questions, and maybe Brian Kelly could have handled it better. And by the way, he did apologize publicly and privately to the reporter afterwards.
Like, he didn't have
I
to.
agree. I heard that. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of with Brian Kelly on this. Like, you're coming off a big SEC win. I don't care that they're losing, that they lost to South Florida. Like,
That's
it's a talented team.
oversensitivity from the PR department.
Yeah, like, but just to go in like that first question, what's wrong with your offense? Like, no, come on. I'm actually with Brian Kelly on that one.
You know, when my engagement became public, a lot of people were saying to me, like, Robert, you're surrounded by beautiful women. You have such a gorgeous aesthetic. You're very handsome. Why would you want to settle down with one woman? And I say to them this.
That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous question.
Absolutely ridiculous. Hope you're listening now, Cheyenne.
That
Yes,
is
she
crazy.
will be.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
The
right.
one day we talked about, Cheyenne never listens, and she's dialed in the car.
Hit
What
me up
did
like,
you tell me?
Oh, I'm not going to the Vols game, am I? Well, you're not going to have any underwear.
People have been asking, and not just one person on the YouTube comment, though I did see a few of those yesterday. People have been asking us to recall our trip to Knoxville for them as a unit, but I don't know how much is
God,
worth sharing.
We would have to piece it together through our
Well, I
shambled
was sober,
memories.
so I mean,
Yes, it was very fun watching you go out of a Don Julio bottle at a tailgate because there was not soda water available.
I did drink directly from the bottle that way.
I feel like people would be disappointed. Like, we walked around campus, stood around, talked to people, went to the game, and then went home.
We shotgunned beers, we smoked cigarettes, we went to Cool Beans, we took shots.
We thought the field goal went in.
To be fair, I thought there were 4 field goals. So
Robert fell asleep in the stands. I mean, we're basically doing it right now for people that are interested. Also, Keith Bullock was there. That was fun.
Yeah.
that was fun. Oh, I forgot we saw Keith. Hey,
There
See,
you go.
we're piecing. It's really more for Robert.
Do you not remember
I do now.
We
I do
talked to
now.
Keith for a long time.
But I remember having to stand like this because everything was like spinning. I had to like lean.
He was wearing his Meta Ray-Bans, he told us, so it is documented.
Oh, I remember this. Yes.
Release the files, Bullock.
Yes.
Release the files. 615-737-1045. Robert, what's your dumbest thing in sports this week?
My dumbest thing in sports, we kind of already talked about it. Lucas almost let it slip, but he did not. Bijan Robinson, probably the most impressive running back in the NFL, but stop jerking us around with what the hell we're supposed to call you. So he came out from college, and it was like, oh, Bijan, Dijon, and started selling us mustard.
Yep.
Everybody, you got a hot dog? You got some beans you want to spruce up? Anybody need some Bijan Dijon? Well, then, this year in training camp, he let everyone know that it is Bizon or Biza. I don't even remember.
Bijan.
Listen to
Bijan.
this. It's in mono, but you can still get the idea. If you got one ear pod in, that's why you're not going to hear this.
Get it right. Okay. I guess my name, how you pronounce my name is Bijan.
Okay.
Like, that's how you say my name. But I say Bijan.
Okay.
And I don't know why I say that. Like, all my life I said that.
All my life I said that, but now he doesn't want to. He wanted to go back on it. He wanted
I
to
don't know why I said that.
So, that is that. I hadn't heard that clip.
That's weird.
Right. So now it comes out, and it's like, okay, no, it's back to being Bijan after he told everyone he wanted to be Bijan. So I enjoyed that. Was it Sunday Night Football?
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football made him say his name like 9 times to clarify. They're like, okay, for his intro, here you go, Bijan. Go ahead and start.
Bijan Robinson, University of Texas.
No, not good enough. Do it again.
Just do Texas for me. Okay. Bijan Robinson, Texas. Bijan Robinson, Texas.
Okay.
Okay, now we got it.
What is it, Bijan?
I loved how the guy asked him. He was like, okay, just say Texas this time. And he's like, Bijan Robinson, Texas. It's like, God forbid that guy have to chew gum and walk. It's like, he hang out with Matthew McConaughey too long.
I'm certain he's athletic enough to chew gum and walk based on the things that he does on a football field.
I don't think it has anything to do with
That's a
athleticism.
bad metaphor by you.
It's not. He's an actor, model, airhead. He's okay.
What? That's just such an interesting, like, it's pronounced Bijan, but I say Bijan, right? Like, I've never heard that. I think I've heard, like, Denzel Washington talk about this, that, like, well, technically it's Denzel. Like,
No, it's not.
I've heard Denzel Washington say
Oh, it's too late now.
that, like, his mother would call him Denzel, but it was Denzel his whole life, and it was on the Graham Norton show, and they were like, so is it Denzel or Denzel? So I've heard that before. But, yeah, nobody's going to call him Denzel Washington after the illustrious career that he's had.
Surely not.
But, yeah, so Bijan. So we're rolling with Bijan.
Can we just stay with one? It's exhausting. It's like Darius Leonard and Shaq Leonard and back and forth. Because didn't he switch it back afterwards? Like, I feel like we did one season of Shaq Leonard.
But
and then
those are both legal names of his, right? It's about he's been
a middle name?
flip-flopping between first and middle name.
Snip, snap, snip, snap.
Where are we on? Achan? Dolphins running back, former A&M running back. Is it Devon Achan?
Oh, I give up.
It's whatever it doesn't look like.
Yeah.
It looks like Chain, so it's Chan.
Chan,
Okay.
I think.
Tyrod?
Until he tells us otherwise.
I just want to call y'all the right things. You know what I mean? I want to say the right
I mean,
things.
we're kind of dealing with that a little bit with Cam Ward, right? Cameron. Parents want him to be Cameron Ward.
It's like the Cam ship has left.
Yeah,
It's too late.
Yeah, everybody's going to call him Cam.
Respectfully, like I'm saying, like
He's been Cam his whole college career, draft process. Like it's
somebody brought this up to me the other day, though, because I do think agents and marketing people get involved with this from time to time. Like, wouldn't it be so much easier to sell you to, I don't know, some cologne company if you used your full government name as opposed to your slang, or something like that? Like, try to church it up a little bit. That's annoying. 615-737-1045. What's the dumbest thing in sports this week? You give us yours. We'll send you to Bailey Zimmerman concert. Let's start with Anthony in Sumner County.
What's up, fellas? Good afternoon.
Yo.
My dumbest thing in sports. We all know that the book gambling is a cold mistress. And when you got Cincinnati -1.5, and they fight back after losing their starting quarterback in the second half to go ahead by 2 with seconds left, and you hold them to where they've got to kick a 60-yard field goal for the win. It's almost a lock. And then you have a stupid defensive lineman that decides that he's going to try to block one, which he probably has never blocked one in his life. Going to push up on the center and use leverage to try to block said 60-yard field goal. That the kicker misses, but gets a 15-yard penalty to then make it a 45-yard field goal in which he splits the uprights, and you lose your 5-leg parlay by that field goal.
I'm sorry for your
Feel a
gambling
little hurt
losses.
about it, but I'm working through it.
that hurts, Anthony. That
A
actually
5-leg parlay,
that
and you
hurts.
just need the field goal, or you just need the cover there at the end
Colts
to win.
escaped with one there, man.
They really did, and that's I mean, we'll talk about Titans Colts more later in the week, but they didn't they didn't dominate Denver the way that they dominated Miami. So there are opportunities against the Colts. Just because they're off to an undefeated start and haven't punted yet doesn't mean that they're unbeatable.
It's crazy that they were about, if not for that penalty, they would have lost a game that they didn't even have to punt in.
That is insane. How about Chris in Spring Hill next?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
You guys doing good?
Yep.
Yeah. So my dumbest thing in sports was the Pittsburgh Steelers kick returner that touched the ball and then gave up the touchdown because he thought it was going out, or I don't know what he was thinking. But, yeah, that was my dumbest thing in sports. Gave up that touchdown on a kick return.
It's a pretty good one.
Or not even a kick return, just a kick off.
I missed this.
Got to know the rules.
Yeah, touched his hands, bounced back into the end zone, and you see him being like, oh, dang it, man, I thought I had that. And then the Seahawks just come in, fall on it, touchdown.
Oh, wow.
It was the
brutal,
first
brutal
snafu this year.
Totally missed that play.
Mike Tomlin was asked about it and was like, do you see Caleb Johnson returning any more kickoffs this year? And he goes, probably not.
Oh, that's in the fourth quarter to take a 2-score lead. Wow, I missed that.
Jesse in Springfield.
Hey, how's everybody doing? My dumbest thing in sports this week was Gilbert Arenas suggesting that Angel Reese should join the Indiana Pacers with Caitlin Clark to form some new two-person superpower. To be honest, the idea is very interesting. It would put NBA basketball wives from Atlanta, give it some competition, but still, that suggestion I thought was crazy.
Huh.
What is the best case of bitter rivals turned into teammates?
Ooh.
Like, I want to say Shaq and Kobe, but, like, I don't feel like they were enemies. They were enemies on the same team. They just, like, didn't like the way each other prepared. So, like, I don't know who that answer would be. Like, who is the biggest come to the dark side? I mean, Kevin Durant, can't beat him, join him.
So the Warriors?
That was more like a heel turn, though, I feel like.
Yeah,
like
and instead of, like, joining your arch rival.
Right.
But he wasn't even really the heel. I mean, I know he got heat for that, but, like, you can't be the heel on a team with Draymond Green.
No, but he was the heel to the rest of the
100%.
NBA. Like, he made it, like, basically made it unfair, is what it felt like. That's a great question.
Would it be, like, Favre to the Vikings or...
I mean, this offseason, we talked a little bit about Vince Marrow, Mark Stoops' right-hand man, assistant head coach, number one recruiter, becoming the Louisville general manager. Like,
That's a pretty good one.
That's a pretty big one.
That's a little.
That's the opposite.
That's inside baseball type of situation, but
that's not going from
he
rivalry
he
to
said
teammates.
the Pacers. I assume he meant the Fever, right? That they
Yeah, he meant the Indiana Fever.
Okay.
A-Rod and Jeter, Ann says. Oh, Rodman and Jordan, Harold, going from the Pistons to the Bulls. That's a good one.
Austin is in Murfreesboro next.
Hey, guys. My submission is the New York Giants tackle, James Hudson, who goes, I don't think I've ever seen it, 4 for 4 consecutively on penalties, then goes to the sideline and crashes out on his coach. And then the voice of reason is God-given Jameis Winston. So that's my submission.
Thank God for Jameis Winston. No, like I wanted him here so badly as a backup because if at least the Titans were going to suck, we could have some fun with Jameis.
I think Chris should win.
Well, we have one more.
Do we?
Jesse in Springfield, and then we'll decide.
No, we already took Jesse.
No, I don't have. What Jesse have?
Gilbert Arenas.
No. Was it?
Come on and talk, Jesse. What you got?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah, get this guy out of here. Come on. Come on. What are we doing?
That's my bad. Who did I miss? Did I miss Chris?
No, Chris
let's
had the
ask
Steelers.
Chris.
We've taken everybody.
Chris, did we already get you?
Am I stupid?
Yes.
Yeah,
So I think it should be Chris. The return man not knowing the rules is tough.
For sure. Although that James Hudson thing, he's just literally like clubbing dudes in the side of the head as a means of blocking him.
Which, to a certain extent, is legal. You are allowed to club.
so funny.
You are not allowed to go from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock.
I want to see a backhand.
That would break your hand.
I mean, players punch helmets. Doesn't stop them doing that.
It's Chris. All right. Congratulations to Chris. We appreciate you guys participating every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. You can win something cool if you give us the dumbest thing in sports this week. Robert will be in touch shortly. Dabo Swinney, he had a rant yesterday. Brian Kelly-esque. We'll play it for you next. DraftKings is your place to get in on all the action each and every week in the NFL, and Week 3 in the National Football League begins tomorrow. Your season, your shot as we continue to roll through. Every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Tomorrow night's game, it's Thursday Night Football in Buffalo with the Dolphins traveling up north. The embattled Miami Dolphins as 12.5-point underdogs on the road. I would probably take Miami to cover. 12.5 is an outrageous line in that particular situation. Even though the Dolphins are stinky, it should be a little closer than that, or at least I would think so. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, plus score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Just when you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code THEZONE. That's code THEZONE to get those bonus bets and over $200 off on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789, 21 plus, Tennessee only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions do apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Clemson has been at times one of the best college football programs in the world. But with the start to their season thus far, Dabo Swinney is getting questions from his media corps that would indicate that Clemson, after a 1-2 start, is looking a little less than, especially given the national championship expectations that we all had for them, right? We were talking about Clemson as being in the title game, as favorites to be in the title game. Veteran quarterback returning, roster that's stacked top to bottom, national championship pedigree program and coach, like all the things that you should need to get it done, but they've struggled. And, you know, the 17-10 loss to LSU, which got Brian Kelly right. You've got a heartbreaker against Georgia Tech over the weekend as well. Not in a great spot. Dabo being asked questions. Do we know the specific question? Because I saw the response going around.
The question, honestly, is what makes it. In fact, we need to hear the audio.
Of the question?
No, of the answer before we tell you what the question is.
Okay.
And just know what we're about to play is part of a 13-minute rant.
Wait.
We're playing all 13 of them.
Wait a damn minute. I didn't know it was 13. 13 consecutive minutes?
Yeah, he didn't stop talking. This is just an excerpt.
All right, let's hear an excerpt of Dabo Swinney's 13-minute rant.
What's so bad about our program? What's so bad about it? What's so bad about the worst season that we've had 14 years? How many programs in college football would sign up for one, and only once, 14 years of 9 wins? How many programs would sign up for that? In the playoffs, so we all talk about, we've been 7 times in 10 years. Who can say that? If we stink because we haven't played for the national championship since January of 20, well, I guess we stink. Or we haven't won it since January of 19. We haven't won the national championship. Well, then I guess we stink. But why are we held to a different standard from all these other teams out there who ain't ever won nothing? We're not perfect, and we may suck this year. We may lay a freaking egg and go 6-6, but I don't think so. And I know that's going to disappoint a lot of people, but I don't think so. I know it's bad because I get in all the text messages, I'm praying for you, everybody's sending me devotions, and you're going to get through this. And, you know, that's when I know it's bad. That's how I feel it, because I don't read it. I don't. I know people say that. I promise you I don't. When it's bad, I don't read nothing.
The question. Dabo, is there one play you'd like to have back from the Georgia Tech game?
That spawned a 13-minute diatribe of which we played you about a minute and a half because you get the gist.
Now, he started the answer, which was verbatim, what's the one offensive play you'd like to have back against Georgia Tech? And he started by saying the turnovers, right? Talking about the fumble that happened and that turned into 3 points for Georgia Tech. And then he went into going on and on about turnover margin and the fundamental stuff. And then we got a long way to go. And this is going to be a good team when it's all said and done. But they care. They're young men. And that turned into one thing after another, after another,
Snowball.
after another.
He had some things he wanted to get off his chest.
Oh, yeah. That one had been building clearly.
Now, I mean, okay, he's 1-2. He's a national championship winning coach. He feels pressure, whether he's actually reading these things or not. I never believe them when they say they don't read anything, because it's not just that they actively would seek stuff out. It's that people text them stuff. Like that happens all the time. Parents, family members, friends, all the things he's saying he's getting devotional sent to him. And
praying for you. So funny. After a 1-2 start, you're going to get through this.
A higher power is going to save your football team from its 1-2 start, Dabo. I mean, just come on. But his larger point that he's trying to make sure that everybody hears is, you're not better off without me. And on that front, he's right. Like, what is Clemson going to do that's better than Dabo Swinney at this point in his career? He's only 55 years old, which he pointed out.
He did.
In the middle of different parts of things.
We could play a million different clips from that. But yeah, he's like, I'm 55. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach. I'm just getting started,
yeah,
you know, the whole deal.
Which, by the way, Pete Carroll's still out here 73. Belichick the same. Like, he's not wrong. So Clemson has gone through ebbs and flows this way. Programs in the new era of college football will go through ebbs and flows. Nobody's going to be Alabama under Nick Saban anymore. It's just not possible. I don't think it is anyway. So I get it. from his standpoint, I also get the criticism because you're a national championship favorite. Play like it, and they haven't.
Here's the problem. Because everything you said is right. Won the league 8 of the last 10 years, 9-4. It's the worst season they've had. And these are all great things, all far above the standard of Clemson football when Dabo Swinney was an internal hire going from assistant to head coach of the Clemson Tigers. They had been a national championship program before, I think 81, if I'm not mistaken. It was their only other national title. But he created a new standard for Clemson football. The problem is when he asks the question, why are we held to a different standard from all the other programs out there? Because you set that standard. Sometimes you are a victim of your own success in that way. You don't get to keep the standard that you inherited and apply it to every year. It might be unfair, but it doesn't work like that. You inherited a program that had a certain standard. You built up a new standard that was far and away higher than the standard that you inherited. So that's the new standard. The standard at Clemson football is to compete for and win championships, not just ACC championships, not just win your conference, which is the thinnest power conference in all of college football, but to go to the playoff and compete for and win national championships. So yes, like when you start 1-2, when you have these dips, and especially when you don't use the mechanisms around you to make it better. Like the criticism is because you have not been as good as you can be because of you, because of your philosophies.
I remember a quote from Brian Callahan's first year where he's talking about earning the right to expectations. Obviously, the Titans haven't done that yet, but like Dabo has earned the right to have expectations. These expectations are created because they have had success. Now it's up to them to maintain that very high standard that they've set for themselves. That's just what it is. And so if it leads to a public crash out every once in a while, it's okay, even though it's going to make headlines like he's going through it. He's frustrated by a 1-2 start. He probably thinks Cade Klubnik should be playing better football than Cade Klubnik has at this point, the way that we all do. So he's just externalizing some of that. I think it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. So, but when you build a new standard, then you have to adhere to that standard. Like we see it all the time. Coaches take over a program that's floundering. They go on a good run. They set it up well. They move the standard up a few notches, and then they themselves start to go below that standard.
Yeah.
And they lose their jobs. Mark Stoops maybe is a bad example because Kentucky is just bottoming out at this point.
Yeah.
But let's say even if Kentucky had gone 6-6 last year and not at the bottom, where they go 4-8. Let's say they had gone 6-6 last year and Kentucky was to go 6-6 again this year. That would be honestly acceptable for almost the entirety of Kentucky football history. Problem is, Mark Stoops turned 9 to 10 win seasons into a tangible thing for Kentucky football. So when he starts to consistently go below the standard he created, then yeah, he's going to pay for it.
You can't be the person who has the standard and then starts to kowtow to a lesser standard.
Exactly.
Like you can't do that.
Exactly.
Dabo's, he's not beyond criticism, obviously, but it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it's probably eating at him a little bit. I'm not mad at Dabo for 13 minutes is absurd. Yeah. If I was sitting in that press conference, somebody would have to raise their hand and be like, Dabo, come on.
And it's easy to throw stones and say you are not at a certain level because of the decisions you make and the way you want to build your program, and that's fine. So if you're Dabo, how do you ride that line between keeping your philosophies that made Clemson football what it is under your leadership and also adapting, right? And doing the thing that all great coaches do, which is evolve with the sport. Typically in the past, that has meant evolving with how the game is being played on offense, right? Now it's about evolving with talent acquisition.
Well, his biggest issue is he comes out so stridently against things. Like he comes out where what's the line? I think I saw somebody bring it up in the chat of the Clemson programming being built in God's NIL,
name, image, and
likeness, which is okay. Like it's okay to pay players if everybody else is paying players. You don't have to be literally holier than thou in those moments. So that I think is what Dabo backs himself into corners because he wants to come out. And I'm sure he believes these things. Like I'm sure he believes these things clearly with his chest, but it doesn't mean that you have to put yourself in that spot. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate. We will carry Brian Callahan's press conference here in just a little while. We got Wet Powder Wednesday coming up next. Christopher is in San Francisco.
Guys, long-time listener. Appreciate you being able to bring Titans coverage to me on the West Coast, so I love the technology. My family are original PSL holders. I am kind of livid that I'm getting text messages from my father on Sunday saying that the stadium feels more like a church. Is our fan base
salvageable at this point to get some noise in that stadium on Sunday? What do we got to do? Is this stadium just going to be forever milquetoast sitting on their hands? I know we don't have the best product on the field, but when our stadium has a home field advantage that we're supposed to be creating to, help the team, and we're not doing it and we're not stepping up, and this is a stadium that's capable of being loud. Obviously, the track record back in '99, and in playoff games, we know we can get loud. What's the solution?
Oh, I mean, win. Like, they suck. They don't deserve to be cheered. They don't do many things that.
Right, but as being a fan, is it not your responsibility to get in that stadium and at least hum, make some kind of noise?
Not after the last 3 years. No, not.
This is the NFL, though. You don't think it's like there's any responsibility being a fan to get off your tail, stand up, and make a little bit of noise on third down to help your team cause a penalty or a false start? I mean,
sure, if they are doing things, but they get penalties all the time. Like, they are a nightmare. They have been a nightmare for the last 3 years. They do this like fan. They appreciate the call, Christopher. They do this thing where I guess they have a camera in the stadium or cameras in the stadium that say, hey, click on this and you can find yourself. If you can type in your seat number, it'll show you a picture of you during the game. I haven't seen one happy Titans fan in any of these. People are just screenshotting themselves looking miserable and downtrodden in the games. Turn your microphone on.
Dang.
That was such a loud. You could literally hear it.
You were on such a good streak.
He was so ready. I mean, yeah, I know. I can hear you. Turn your microphone on so everybody else can.
I mean, there were moments there where people can go and find the reaction to Cam Ward's touchdown or Alex Katz or Jim Ray's
that's
punt
the
return.
only thing. It's 3 years of all the other crap. No, I'm not mad at Titans fans.
I think it's a thing where, and some people in the FNM Big Chat are disagreeing, saying that it was loud. I wasn't there.
Loud? No. Listen, but like Nissan isn't that. Nissan hasn't. This is my 9th season covering the Tennessee Titans as a professional football organization. I can count on one hand how many times that stadium has felt like what Denver felt like in week 1. But Denver has playoff expectations. Like, I'm not going to be mad at people for being maybe not quite fair weather, but like prone to stepping up to the moment if you have something that's worth supporting. The Denver Broncos didn't play well in week 1, but they got a team that's worth supporting. They have expectations. They have standards. There are no standards here in the last 3 years. All they do is lose.
It's the thing where I think fans get credit when because all fan bases show up in the good moments. They all do. Sure. Right?
The Preds in 17, it was Lower Broadway was a national phenomenon.
Yeah. And Bridgestone was a shell of itself last year.
That's what I'm saying.
But fans get credit. Fans always show up in the good moments. Fans get credit when they keep showing up in the bad moments, right? Like, we have all the respect in the world for Browns fans that they keep showing up to that stadium. Tennessee fans during all those terrible years still selling out Neyland Stadium. Fans get credit for that. I don't think they should get blamed for it when they just don't want to keep subjecting themselves to it.
But this is also like a part of the NFL. I have more thoughts on this, but like, they've priced fans like that out too with what it costs to go to an NFL game. Like, thank God that teams like the Falcons exist to charge like $2 for a soda and $1 for a hot dog at every game and not gouge you at every turn. But they're trying to pay for bright, shiny new things that also won't be filled unless they have a winning football team or have an atmosphere. SoFi is gorgeous. SoFi is a testament to modern architecture, and it's like a church service in there when the Chargers and the Rams play, because that's just not what it is anymore. It's a way better experience to cheer on your team from home, and the NFL teams in building these, whatever it is, these modern architectural marvels that don't actually improve the fan experience in a lot of different ways, because the fan experience is at home way better. Yeah, it's just the nature of what it is. You're never going to go back to 25 years ago. Social media exists. Highlights on Twitter exist. Red Zone exists. It's way easier to watch at home. I'm not mad at fans about that.
Stop. You can still be good and have a rockin' stadium. Just because Twitter exists doesn't mean you can't be loud.
No, but these are different things that have picked away. Like, he's talking about 25 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, in 1999, the world was different.
It's because the NFL was here and they had a contender on their hands, and it was this big new thing.
And also, the world is significantly different. Lucas, if you asked a good many sports fans about what is a better experience, many of them are going to tell you cheaper at home, better visibility at home,
Sure, that
bathroom
doesn't mean the
access at
stadium
home.
can't still be loud, Buck. What are we even talking
No,
about
I'm not
here?
saying that it can't be, but there are a variety of different things that compiled over time, and also the football team is ass. Like, that's going to chip away at your experience when it's been 3 straight years of that. They've not mattered at any level for a long time. Brian Callahan's next. The Tennessee Men's Clinic. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is an incredibly valuable resource for guys who are experiencing performance issues because ED can wreck your confidence. It can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. That's where the Tennessee Men's Clinic comes in because they've been helping guys since 2014 get back to feeling like themselves. Whether you're dealing with mild or moderate ED, performance issues, or even conditions like Peyronie's disease, their medical team will work with you to create a plan that gets results, often with options most men didn't even know were out there. If you want to call them today, you should call them today because procrastination does not help the situation. 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book easily online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. So they told us that Brian Callahan is going to start talking at 11:50. I don't know how seriously we should take that, given the lack of consistency that he gets to the podium. But at some point in the next 15 to 20 minutes, we're going to hear from the head coach. Do we want to shoehorn wet powder in here?
Go, 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 go.
All right. Robert, what's your wet powder moment this week?
What do you want me to go first? I'm over here prepping on this daggum press conference.
Okay, Lucas, you go.
Ted McMillan's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh!
What are you taking my... Didn't I call that?
You did.
You called it preseason. Now it's my wet powder moment after 2 games. Because while I think Emeka Egbuka is going to be a better player, Emeka Egbuka will have Chris Godwin coming back, and he's obviously surrounded by Mike Evans as well. Whereas McMillan already seems to be the favorite for Bryce Young in Carolina. They're going to be playing down more in Carolina.
He's a giant, and the rest of them, I mean, Xavier Legette, it's just been bad.
Ted McMillan has 168 yards through 2 games. He's still looking for his first touchdown. Emeka Egbuka, by the way, already has 3 touchdowns through 2 weeks. But with the volume that he's going to get in the passing game, Panthers are going to be playing down a lot. And they were chasing against the Cardinals. Somehow they almost made it a game. They recovered an onside kick, which never happens. Penalties, the Cardinals just kept giving them lifelines that they couldn't take advantage of. That's my wet powder Wednesday. The Panthers, by the way, host the Falcons in a divisional game this week.
My wet powder moment is this WWE and ESPN partnership is not going to work out. In fact, it is going to fail spectacularly because everyone that you're going to be asked to be doing these promo reads or pub do not give a rip about your sport. Example, Chris Fowler talking about WrestlePalooza, the first PLE that is going to be on ESPN.
The first ESPN Premium Live event, WWE WrestlePalooza from Indianapolis. John Cena against Brock Lesnar in the main event. Lewis, your thoughts on Cena versus Lesnar?
Yes, John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Yes, great job, Chris Fowler. He can't even read copy.
All right, listen.
He was down bad the other night.
You're reading it, Buck. There's no reason for him to say Lester. It's Lesnar.
No, I know.
He played football.
I'm not going to defend him. I'm saying that almost 10 times out of 10, Chris Fowler is beyond reproach, but he sounded tough on that
His
double
voice was gone. I didn't think
Too
it
much
was
tennis?
him. I was watching that game, and I was like, who's calling this
It
game?
doesn't sound like him.
Because I was like, it's not Fowler. Usually Fowler's with these guys. That's not Fowler.
He had an off night, Robert.
Also, that 3-man booth is awful. I love Louis Riddick. I love Dan Orlovsky, but that 3-man booth is like everyone's just like, oh, I've got to say something. They were talking about Derwin James. Oh, Derwin James is fantastic. And then they're adding this on, and Louis has to add this on, and then all of a sudden Dan Orlovsky's like, great guy to be around.
Well, yeah, but it's going to work out because they got their money. Like, they're going to make...
Okay, fine. It'll work out. It's going to suck. It's not going to be good. It's not a good broadcast.
Well, sure.
Well, sure is flat. What do you mean, well, sure? I don't think anybody would have said, well, sure. Do you think they would have put it together for it to suck if they're going to go, well, sure, it's going to suck, but
I don't think that they
Chris
care
Fowler.
about it. I think they're just grabbing as much live rights as humanly possible because that's going to be their thing. Like, they're just going to sell you more. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
I hate when he has these opinions.
I'm not understanding your pushback on this. He's saying the 3-man booth sounds bad, and you're saying, yeah, but they have live rights. Like, I don't understand.
Oh, I thought you were talking... He's not talking about the booth. He's talking about the WWE and ESPN marriage.
I was saying... That was my point. But again, I was saying the booth is bad.
He was adding on that the 3-man booth is too many cooks.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. It's like they tried to put Tony Kornheiser on Monday Night Football, and Tony Kornheiser's great, but he's not what I want in the middle of Monday Night Football. Like, they try a bunch of things, it doesn't work. Hell, it took them literally buying Joe Buck and Troy Aikman to fix Monday Night Football.
Yeah, they tried to wheel Booger McFarland around on the sideline.
Even the best in the world, the worldwide leader in sports, it's tough to find people that work well in those settings. It's I'm not saying I'm not justifying it, but that's what it is. Should we break?
Break for Callahan.
Your powder isn't wet at all?
He just didn't have one.
Well, I mean, it's 52.
He also didn't have one.
I was looking for one. I said the Lions were dead, and then they just smoked the Bears last week.
Always prepared.
Which is kind of the purpose of this exercise. Oh, please, turn your microphone on one time. I'm Bucker Isaac. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Football right now. I think offensively, I don't think they've punted. They've been really, really good moving the ball. I think Jonathan Taylor's playing really good. Their offensive line is strong. Their group of skill players is dynamic. They've had quite a few explosive plays. They do a nice job complementing all their different players in their different roles. I think Daniel Jones is doing exactly what they want him to do. He's playing really efficient. He's going to the right place with the ball. Good coaching staff over there. I think Shane and Jim Bob on offense do an excellent job. And on defense, a familiar friend of mine, a very good friend of mine and very good coach, and Lou Anarumo, changing scheme. Played him last year in Cincy, have some familiarity with the scheme, but very multiple, very aggressive, very different than what they've run last year when we played the Colts. Those guys are doing a really nice job on defense, taking the ball away. I think they're second in the league maybe in takeaways. They've turned the ball over on teams. They play with a lead. They've done a really nice job complementing each other in all three phases, really. And their special teams group is a very good one. So good divisional matchup. All that stuff is what it is, but we got to go play well. We got divisional games at home are always really important, and we're going to go out there and try to get ourselves a divisional win this week.
Brian, when you look at the sacks and the situation that's been with the offensive line, how much of it has been guys just not winning at the point of attack versus guys being put in disadvantageous situations with long yards and things like that?
That's a little bit of both. I mean, we've certainly had a loss or two in just pure technique and blocking one-on-one. There's been some other times where the coverage has been solid and we've had to hold the ball an extra second, so they're blocking longer than normal. And then there's some other things in terms of the running backs, and we've missed a protection or two that have given up some heat. So it's a combination, as always, but certainly need to play better there against this particular group. And the interior of this defense is really good between Stewart and 99. Man, those guys are really good players. So we got to work cut out for us on the interior for sure.
When you're going up against a defensive scheme like the Colts, what are some keys or must-dos for your offense, including the quarterback?
You have to see the post snap. There's a lot of things that change in the time between lining up on the ball and snapping the ball. Pressure package is multiple. He's got every pressure. So what they are for us this week, you got to be ready for a multitude of things, and the quarterbacks got to be ready to handle those, whether they're protection checks or they're quick throws or quick answers. Those things, there's a lot on the quarterback to manage when you play a defense like this. I think Cam's up to the task, and he'll be prepared for it. But it's always one of those games where you're likely to see something maybe you haven't necessarily prepared for, or they haven't done in 12 weeks or 2 years or something like that. Lou's got quite a bit of defense at his disposal. He's got a deep bag, if you will. So we got to be ready to play our rules at the end of the day, which is always what you got to do when you're facing teams that do a lot of different things and try to keep you off balance. So plenty on Cam's plate this week for sure, and then we got to do well around him to help that.
How's JC, and you anticipate going the same direction if he can't go?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes throughout the week. If he can't go, obviously both Ole and Juice have played. We got to find a little bit of continuity there if we can, but we'll see how practice goes and see how those guys do during the week.
What's a reasonable expectation for that third tackle?
I mean, just like anybody who comes in, our expectation is to be able to do the job. Are they going to go shut down one-on-one top-tier pass rushers for 35 pass dropbacks? Probably not, but we got to do our part to help, and they got to do their part and play. Anybody who plays in a backup role is expected to come in and do the job, and at least effectively enough to put us in position to win.
You were looking for offensive line depth over the offseason. I think you guys signed 5 or 6 players. Just what were you searching for, and to what degree do you think you found it?
Offensive line depth is something that everybody's searching for all the time. Every team in the league is searching for offensive line depth. They're trying to find guys that have played or at the very least have traits that you think you can develop. Tackles it's hard to find 3 tackles that are all, top end starting caliber tackles. Nobody has that. But everybody's trying to find guys that can go in and compete and play well and know what to do and how to do it. That's always a part of it. And hopefully the guys that have some experience, which both Juice and Ole do. And then you're looking for young players to develop. And I think you look around the league, a lot of teams at the cut down probably kept 9, 10, 11 linemen in some cases. And that's just where the NFL is at right now in terms of the total depth of line play across the league, and the amount of players that can play those positions there's not a lot of them on the planet. So you do your best to find guys that can function.
feels more comfortable with the O-line depth this year, maybe than last year. Do you agree with that assessment?
I think from top to bottom, I feel a lot better about it. I think Blake Hance is a proven player that can play inside, outside. He started games in this league and played well. I think Corey Levin's proven, over the course of an entire offseason that he's a very capable interior backup. And, like I said, both Ole and Juice have played in games. And so I feel good about the guys that have played, and we got to play better than we have, certainly. But I do feel good about the depth and the guys that we do have, and got some young players in Crenshaw Dixon and the practice squad, and Jackson Slater who are developing and coming along. So feel good about that spot.
You're talking about Hance as an inside-outside possibility. Why does it seem like he's not a tackle possibility at this stage?
He's still more of an inside player than an outside player, but he can get you out of a spot in a pinch. Which he's done. He's proven he's done it over his career in different spots. But again, not something that you put him at tackle, you lose your interior, your interior swing, interior depth. So it's always a puzzle piece on how you move those guys around and put them together. But yeah, he's.
Brian Callahan is at the podium. We go now live to Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park.
Yeah, you see Kush coming back. There's definitely that residual from not practicing over the course of training camp and getting your strength back and your legs back and your pads back set the way you're used to feeling when you're in there. I think every week he's gotten better, and I've been pleased with Kush. I think he's only going to continue to feel more comfortable as he keeps playing, just like any guys that are coming back from injury and have missed the amount of time that he missed. I think Zeitler's been a physical presence for us inside. We've moved the line of scrimmage, particularly running behind him, quite a bit over the first 2 weeks. I've been pleased with him, and I think Pete has probably quietly been a pretty strong performer for us, both in the run game and the pass game. So feel good about the interior. I think they're still coming along and still getting better. I think we can still continue to get better, but I've been pretty pleased with those guys so far.
The Iron Manor and Ward combination, how do you like where that's starting to go, especially coming off of this past game? What can you guys do this week to further take advantage of it?
Yeah, I think every time you see guys connect like that in a game and get on the same page, we threw that one route in a third down to Ellick, kind of back shoulder style route that Cam threw in the Denver game and missed it, and it was the exact same style route. It was just good to see them get on the same page, communicate, work on it, and then come back the next week and hit it. And I think that's what you're looking for from a youth perspective and development, of understanding what we want from them and then figuring out, what it takes to make the play. And that was really a positive thing to see Ellick perform in the game. The game is not too big for him. He's been everything that we were hoping he could be as far as that kind of X-receiver style with his size and his speed and his strength. He's proven now that he can go, combat catch with guys in this league, and we just got to keep coming along. He's done a really nice job.
And being opposite, really, there, of course, like in Denver, he's going to get that one-on-one safety shaded over. How much of a green light does Cam have to look at him and check to that and then take that shot?
Yeah, all the time. Anytime he gets to look for it, we're good to go, and that's good. I think having relatively unknown player to start out, now starting to make a bit of a name for himself as a good receiver thus far as in his first 2 games out. And it's got to keep coming. He hasn't arrived yet by any stretch, but having 2 good outside receivers that both have some speed and have some different things we can use from a skill set perspective is great. And I'm really excited to see the rest of those guys keep coming too.
Cam is such a confident quarterback. How comfortable do you think he is already? And this really is any rookie quarterback drafted where he's been, in terms of being honest about, I didn't like this, I didn't do this, I can't do that. Because he obviously wants to present the image that he's capable of doing these things.
Sure. I think he's done a really good job with that. He's not afraid to tell me something he doesn't like, which is really what I'm most concerned about. Most quarterbacks are going to tell you they like a lot of things, because they generally do, especially if it's just involved with throwing the ball. Of course, he's going to like those things. I'm really the most concerned, though, about things that he really doesn't like. That means more to me, because as long as a quarterback's fine with whatever the concept is, they generally can make it work. It's the ones where they're not certain or they don't feel good about it, but maybe they're afraid to say something because they think, I like it or it matters to me. It doesn't. If the quarterback doesn't like it, I'm not calling it, because they generally tend to not play well in those situations when they don't feel confident with the play. So he's been really good, and that's things we've worked on over the course of training camp. And as you're banking reps on plays, like I need to know, hey, how do you feel about this particular play. You don't like it, or you don't like the throw, or maybe the route's not what you were expecting. We won't do it, and that's the feedback I need from him, more so than what he does like. Because again, most guys like a lot of things, but it's the very specific things that you're not comfortable with that guys sometimes have a harder time of sharing, and he doesn't have that issue at all. He's very honest about what he likes and what he doesn't.
Bernard said yesterday that he needs Sweat out there because he's an impact player who can affect what goes on in the back seven behind him and all. How is he doing, and is he ready for a full load this
He's
week?
good. Hopeful to see him get back into the practice mix here this week. Hopeful. We'll see how the week plays out. But yeah, he's an impact player in the run game, certainly. And when he's playing at his best, he's a really nice tandem with Jeff, and he makes our football team better. So would love to have him. Especially against this group this week. They've run the ball well through the first 2 weeks and got a really good back and a good offensive line. So having as many good players on the front that we can have that are big and strong and physical is what we're looking for. So we'll see ultimately where that shakes out this week. But I definitely would love to have him back.
Brian, a bit off topic, but how do you approach half times? Like when you have such a limited amount of time to make adjustments, making sure guys understand what they need to do before heading out for the third quarter. What's kind of your philosophy on that?
You try to get at least maybe the first drive out of the third quarter ready to roll, kind of preview some things. The only thing that we spend the most time on is just going back through any protection issues that we got to put up on the screen. That's really the bulk of the time is, it ends up feeling like 3 minutes. It's probably like 5 or 6. It's not that much time at halftime when it's all said and done. Try to preview kind of the next handful of things that are coming, but those are all conversations that we have in between series, sort of the entirety of the game. I do think, as I said before, there's a little bit of a overblown nature of like halftime adjustments that gets thrown around. There's just not a lot of time at halftime, and those conversations are ongoing. After every series, we're having conversations about how we're being played, what the counter is to the next play, what was good before we need to come back to, where do we need to continue to head, or what part do we need to get away from. Those conversations are ongoing. They happen the entirety of the game. So the halftime thing is what it is. There's a little bit of time to make maybe have a conversation or two further, but for the most part, it's just a continuation of what we'd already been talking about leading up to it.
Did you say you are able to put stuff up on video for guys to see in that?
Not video. We can bring the surface down. There's the normal sideline tablets, and we plug it into a projector, and we can go through. We can annotate on those pictures over the course of the game. So we make notes and do stuff. So we go through during the series. You just flip through them and the notes are on there. But then any particular pressure looks or something we want to make sure we hit again, you can pull that picture up and talk through it on an overhead. But no video.
I understand what you're saying about the potential for massive adjustments in that time period being overblown. But considering how your second halves have gone, should you not perhaps be looking to expand what you do during that time?
Yeah, we're always looking to try to improve that process and whatever we think we need to do from a communication standpoint, from a presentation standpoint to the players. Clearly we got to perform better in the second half and particularly in the fourth quarter. And, we look at all that stuff. If we can better maximize our time, better present the information in the moment, those are all things that we look at. And, we've done that a couple different ways and looked at some things that maybe can help us. And so, yes, the answer ultimately is yes, we do look at that.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That's Brian Callahan at the podium. Robert, you have a question?
My only question was my ears perked up when he was saying, it's not enough time. At halftime to make adjustments. Like roughly, I think the quote of what he said, now, and I'll work on pulling it once we do have a break, it's not really enough time. Like it feels like it's 5 minutes. It's really like 3 minutes.
By the time you get everybody in, go to the bathroom, give them a sandwich or a banana or something like that. Like, okay.
That, I wonder if other people feel that is troubling. Because I feel like second half adjustments, you should have time to discuss what they're doing, what they're doing to combat what you're trying to do on both sides of the ball and make the adjustments. And I wonder if you guys feel the same about that.
I've never heard a coach say it like that. But, here's the thing with his press conferences, because there was an answer in there that I did like and I want to talk about, specific to the way that he handles Cam Ward and the playbook. But he will say some things sometimes that I'm not sure he's fully aware of the way that it is perceived, or that he overspeaks, like he talks too much to the point where you're looking around and being like, did he actually mean what he was talking about there? Or did he actually, like, the quotes are so long sometimes. And that's fine. Like, more information is better than less. But I do think that occasionally at a podium, he can talk himself into a circle. Because I'm sure there is, like, I'm assuming that there is a process of, hey, we need XYZ ready to go on the whiteboard or on the iPads by the time we get to into the locker room, halftime, ready to go. This is what we're going to focus on. Like, somebody's job should be that, yes?
Yeah. I do believe that they have about 5 minutes, if that, like, with the team's attention.
Yeah, halftime's fast.
Yeah. Like, sure. I mean, even for me, like, I feel like halftime I feel like I barely have time to get a snack and go to the bathroom before the second half starts.
But, like, I think he's being a bit casual about it, Robert. And, again, he's 3-16 as a head coach. Everything that he says about the way that the team is prepared, or the way that the team adjusts or doesn't adjust, the obvious struggles in the second half of football games under Brian Callahan, like, everything is going to be, as Brian Kelly says, micro-analyzed there. And it should be. It should be, because they're bad, and they don't get better.
Brandon points out that quote from Peyton Manning on Manningcast a couple years ago. This was going around, too, the audio of it, where he says, never once in my 18 years did I make a halftime adjustment. And you've said this a million times, too. Like, it's not really a thing.
It's drive to drive.
Right. So I don't really blink when Callahan says that, because that's all I hear people that are, are in these battles as coaches and players say. It's like, yeah, halftime adjustment in the NFL is like the most overrated thing you can find.
You spend the first half preparing to adjust for the second half.
Exactly. Unless you're in the Super Bowl, right? And you have like 45 minutes. But at the same time, Titans have 9 second half points through 2 games.
Awful.
They have 3 fourth quarter points.
And that's a trend that continues back to last year. Like, again, you try to wipe the slate clean when a new season starts, but there are extenuating circumstances to that. So I think what Robert brings up is fair. I don't want to just dismiss it, Bert, because I think he says some stuff at the podium sometimes that doesn't make total sense, or that he might clean up after the fact. And not just because he had a press conference this year where he got a rule wrong. Like, I don't know. I take some of these things with a grain of salt, not fully as gospel, but he knows. I mean, if he doesn't know by now, he's well aware, or that everything that he says is going to be, descended upon. Now, there is something out of that press conference, and we have plenty of time to talk about this. 615-737-1045. is the number if you want to weigh in on anything that Brian Callahan had to say. We'll give you some additional context on what he mentioned about Cam Ward, specific to the playbook, about Tavondre Sweat, because that's a lot of things that people are asking about. Also, we haven't talked about L'Jarius Sneed enough, I think. Like, I spent a lot of time bitching about the things that they do wrong in the L'Jarius Sneed situation.
We mentioned, we talked about it on Monday.
But, like, not enough. Like, he's legit.
It was his best performance as a Titan.
And I don't, I understandably drain people because there is so much bad crap to talk about, and I fixate on the bad, but there is something there that would give them, it seems, an advantage against a team that has better skill players than they do. But if you can play decent defense, you can keep yourself in games.
He also said J.C. Latham, they're going to see how it goes. We missed this part. Going to see how it goes with him.
Well, we got a whole segment to talk about what Brian Callahan said, but I want to stick with what we're talking about right now. I think, Robert, that they give the vibe off of that they aren't totally buttoned up as an operation. And not just because of week 1 in Denver, where his support staff and he got things wrong that could have impacted a one-score game. They don't give off buttoned up. So I think people pick at them that way more than you might. Like, nobody doubts that Mike Tomlin has his team prepared. Nobody doubts that Mike Vrabel knows the rule book. He's on the competition committee. Nobody doubts that Andy Reid has every level of offensive game planning to his scheme, or can implement it at any given time because there is a proven track record of success. They do not have a proven track record of success. They get a lot of things wrong. And so I think when you hear a quote like that, especially from a coach that offers more information than your average NFL coach does, because he's trying to explain to you, hey, we think that the things that we're going to be able to do here are going to work. Here's why. I think people descend upon them faster than they might your average coaching staff. Because I do think on aggregate, there's just not a ton of time there. But you should have people ready to go with the corrections that you want to get across to the team at halftime with all of those points already on the board by the time everybody sits down and is done going to the bathroom or whatever they're doing in halftime of a football game.
I think the question that we could talk about, and I want to hear from Titans fans about, 615-737-1045, or on the F&M Bank chat, is understanding that the Titans are going to be, on paper, outmatched in almost every game they play this season, roster to roster. Understanding that, what can Brian Callahan do and show this year for Titans fans to be convinced he is the guy that needs to lead the team and develop Cam Ward moving forward? I'm genuinely curious to know what Titans fans feel about that.
Well, that's the prompt. What are your thoughts? 615-737-1045. What can Brian Callahan do? Is there a single thing that Brian Callahan can do at 0-2 and 3-16 to convince you that he's the right person for this job, not just till the end of the season, but on after that, to shepherd Cam Ward through his NFL career as the starting quarterback for this franchise? 615-737-1045. What's one thing, if there is one thing, that comes to your mind when Lucas asks that question? We'll do that, and we'll talk more about what Brian Callahan said at the podium coming up next. Your flagship for financial independence is Trajan Wealth. They are here to help you through the agonizing process of making sure that your finances are buttoned up. The simple truth is that there is more to retirement planning, for example, than simply calculating your expenses to maintain your lifestyle through that next stage of life. Trajan Wealth is there to help you and can build a strategy based on realistic options that align with your goals and your circumstances. That's what they're there to do. And it's never too early to start planning for your retirement. Whether it's decades away or just around the corner, Trajan Wealth's fiduciary advisors can ensure you feel prepared for that financial shift. So contact Trajan Wealth today. They've got 2 locations here locally, Brentwood and Franklin. Their number is easy, 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000. Or online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Download the Hattie B's app. Mobile order. If it's your first time, you get a free dessert. You can earn points. Bought us a bucket of chicken a couple of weeks ago. I've got points for days, boys. Hattie B's. HattieB.com for more information. Brian Callahan just spoke. Colts coming up this week. Titans fans trying to get right. Titans, as a team, trying to get right. Titans fans hoping their team gets right against a divisional opponent. A divisional opponent that is, at least by external expectations, better than anybody thought they were going to be. Daniel Jones looks like he's on the right track. Tyler Warren looks like the second coming of the next great tight end in football. Jonathan Taylor looks like one of the best running backs in football, and the defense is good enough. It's not a small thing, but they just played a close game in which they won because Denver committed a dumb penalty, set them up for a closer field goal, and they were able to get away with it. One-score games, things that you can put yourself in position to compete in until the very end, and if something breaks right your way, then good for you. It happens all the time. What can Brian Callahan do for you as a Titans fan to convince you that he is the right person for this job? Obviously, if things continue on this trajectory, that's not a conversation worth having.
And I hate to couch it like this, but besides win, because that's, yes, the most obvious answer, and that's the majority of answers we're going to get is, well, win games. And I guess if the Titans were to go 1-16 or something like that, then that's the whole other level of losing.
Yeah.
But like with the understanding, the expectation that we all had coming in that they just weren't going to legitimately compete to the level that they want to get to in a couple of years, what can he do?
Their over-under was 5.5. I went under for a reason. They are not a roster that will win on paper against many other rosters in the league. That's just what it is. Now, the way that they have lost Sunday is how I expected them to lose all season.
Right.
Like, they're outgunned. Matt Stafford's better than you. Jared Verse is better than you. Like, they have better players, and they have a good coach. Like, they have a coach who's a plus. They have a coach who's a difference maker as a play caller. Now, that is one thing that we still don't know through 19 games, 3-16. I don't know if Brian Callahan is a difference maker as a play caller. Why don't we know that? Well, one, his quarterback for the vast majority of last year was Will Levis. That's going to negate what you may be able to do as a play caller. Your offensive line, now for 2 straight years, heading into this year through 2 games, is horrendous. They are bad. They are one of the worst in the league. They are bottom of the barrel. They are 32nd in terms of explosive play rate. They are having trouble executing anything that they might otherwise be able to execute if they had the thing that we talked about them trying to get this year, Lucas, which is league average offensive line play. They are well below.
Yes. Through 2 games, they are well below.
So there are things that we may just never find out because the roster is simply bad enough that it's going to get him fired. And I'm not saying that it's all on the roster because it's on them too. But here's one thing that comes to mind for me, and it's broad, but when you see it, you'll know it. Are you capable, not just him, but as a coaching staff, of exploiting a loophole in the rule book? We've seen teams do this all the time. Can you be more prepared? Do you appear to be more prepared than the coaching staff that is across from you? Have you given yourself an advantage? Have you been a plus from the sideline in a way that is clear and obvious to everybody, whether it's the utilization of your timeouts, whether it's the way that you manage an end-of-half situation? They did better this week, right? I know people killed him for being conservative at the end, but he took the points in the lead to half. I'm not mad at him about that, right? That's him understanding, hey, we wouldn't be ahead in 9 other scenarios. This is the one scenario we're ahead. Let's capitalize on that. I'm good with that. Jeff Simmons talked about the vibe in the locker room. Let's go out and get a win. Now, they didn't, but that's going to happen. What is Brian Callahan's signature moment as a coach?
The win in Houston last year.
Is that Brian Callahan's signature win as a coach? It is his signature win as a coach of the Titans, yes, but is he a clear and obvious reason as to why they won a football game? Did he have a moment in that game, beyond being the head coach of the team that won that day, did he have a specific moment in that game where you looked at that and said, okay, yeah, this guy can figure it out, because there's not one that jumps to mind. What jumps to mind is that long Chig touchdown. Now they put Chig in space, and Chig made a play.
Yeah, like they had a game plan that was executed to the tune of 37 points on the road against a divisional opponent. We could go back and watch the game and try to pinpoint moments, but those moments that you're talking about are moments that are probably more difficult for us to see as laymen, even if we're watching or covering every game.
William Jones says his signature moment is getting choked up. Well, Williams is crying. He wasn't crying, but getting choked up after the Patriots game is the thing that I think it's two things. For Brian Callahan, it's Will Levis, what the F are you doing? And it's he was asked about a rule. He didn't know the rule. Those are the two things that you most identify with Brian Callahan right now. You may never get the stink of that specific moment, the one that happened this year. Like, he may always have that for however long people talk about Brian Callahan. But he has to do something that shows that he is above and beyond prepared for the moment and can give his team a direct advantage by something that he and his staff did.
The week 1 loss in Denver is the kind of game when it's there for the taking on the road against a better team and you don't take it. Those are the kind of moments, I feel like, where you can really evaluate the coaching staff. And they didn't do well with that moment in week 1. And we'll see how many more moments like that they get. You think back to last year. How many times was a game just there for the taking in Chicago?
Oh, hardly ever. Chicago. But
yeah, in Chicago.
7 of the 14 losses, Lucas, they got their
I understand that.
Off.
But, again, we're talking about a team that we are not expecting to have a winning record or even be 500 or even around 500. So in those limited opportunities that show up where the game is there for the taking, you got to take it, right? They didn't do it in Chicago last year.
No.
They didn't do it at home against Jacksonville last year.
No.
Like the Jets game last year. And so much of that was attributed to the quarterback. And for good reason.
Rightfully so.
Yes.
But I think that Will Levis played a better game than Brian Callahan called a game in Houston. Like, I think Will Levis deserves more credit for Houston.
Sure. But then I guess we're doing the, okay, he doesn't get, he gets the blame when they're bad. He gets none of the credit when things go well. Then we're in this weird territory.
No, we're not in weird territory, because there are examples of this every season. The players matter infinitely more than the coaching staff. The coaching staff can do what they can to put them in position to succeed. Can I hear from Tom Brady on NFL coaching, the state of NFL coaching? He had an interview that went viral with Colin Cowherd last week specifically, and we're going to bail on it before he starts to cuss, because Tom Brady didn't realize he was on 350 Fox Sports affiliates, apparently. Tom Brady last week on The Herd.
The GM, the coach, the coordinator need to go upstairs in a room privately, raise their hands, yes or no. And I don't care where you drafted him. I would give Caleb 11 more weeks, Caleb Williams. Let's go upstairs. Is that fair? I know it sounds kind of harsh, but Thanksgiving, year 2, I believe quarterbacks, if the operations aren't there, he's not the guy. Is that too soon?
Yeah, but I would argue this. You're assuming that everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So are you saying, just like we'd rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you had the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind, or the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting? When I got to the Patriots, I sat behind Drew, who was a franchise quarterback, right? In my second year, it's training camp, and we had a very good quarterback coach named Dick Rabine, and God rest his soul. Unfortunately, he passed away in training camp and of a heart attack. And it was a very difficult loss for our team. And the way that we found a way to continue on that season is Bill Belichick became more of a quarterback coach than we ever imagined him being a quarterback coach. He was obviously a head coach, very involved in defensive game planning, but he decided to come in every week and talk to the quarterbacks about coverage. All right, guys. And he would do these big write-ups, and I still have them all because I kept everything. Tom, this is cover 1. This is how they play it. This is who is responsible for who.
So what Brady is articulating there is a head coach who was a defensive coordinator and a defensive background guy decided, all right, I'm smart enough. I'm going to learn all this stuff, and I'm going to be a plus. I'm going to be an advantage. He's got to be more than just the play caller. He's got to be more than just the quarterback expert. He's got to be the head coach of a football team that finds ways to give advantage across the board. Amani Hooker, he's talked about this publicly. Amani Hooker said, oh, it's nice to have you in the defensive meeting room at this point this year, because he wasn't doing that last year. And he was hyper-fixated on getting an offense off the ground and trying to keep Levis from going nuclear. There are reasons that thing happened, but like if you're asking me specifically, show me you're an advantage across the board and just not for one specific position, because your football team is so much more than that.
Yeah, which is why I point to that Broncos game, because the next time a situation like that pops up, he can't afford not to take advantage of it. Right? Like, continuously, we've brought up the Panthers as a good example. The Panthers last year, and it's not exactly what people want to hear. The Panthers haven't been an organization you want to be compared to over the last few years. But the Panthers won 5 games last year. They got a great second half of the season push from their second-year quarterback. They were in games late and couldn't get over the hump multiple times against the Chiefs, against the Eagles, against some of the best teams they played. But they were in position in a lot of those games, despite being outmanned because of, I'm not going to act like I watched every snap of the Panthers games last year, but you get what I'm saying, right? They were able to put themselves in positions to win those games. Can the Titans do that more consistently this year? And you try to think of any precedent. Like, how often has this happened? It's a unique situation, right? That it's a second-year coach that has his rookie number 1 overall pick quarterback. You know the roster's not up to par. Okay, how do we evaluate him? Yeah, wins, sure, but we know that that's not really on the table for them, winning 7, 8, 9, 10 games this year. And you think back to the place that Callahan was before in Cincinnati. Year 1 of Zach Taylor, 2-14, dreadful, worst team in the league. They get the number 1 pick. They draft Joe Burrow with it, 2020. They win 4 games in 2020, 4.
And Burrow gets hurt.
He played in 10 games, though. So 10 games is good enough for you to get an idea of what you have.
How many of them were one score?
Good question. I'll pull it up, the Bengals 2020 schedule.
Because I think that matters. You know, like Brian Callahan wasn't just losing. He was losing terribly last year.
I'm just trying to think back to like precedent. And the precedent, when Callahan was the offensive coordinator, Zach Taylor was the head coach. And the Bengals, I get it, a notoriously patient, if not cheap organization, saw enough in that second season, despite 4 wins, a dreadful season by any metric, saw enough to want to keep everything together. And then what do they do the following year? They go to the Super Bowl. So I'm looking through, their losses are as follows. 16-13 against the Chargers, 35-30 against the Browns, 23-20 tie in overtime against the Eagles, awesome, 27-3 at the Ravens, 31-27 against Indy, 37-34 against Cleveland, 36-10 against Pittsburgh, 20-9 against Washington, 19-17 against New York, 19-7. We're post Joe Burrow injury.
Yeah.
So before Joe Burrow went down, I see, not including the Washington game in which he got hurt, I see 2 losses by more than 1 score.
Okay.
They were in just about every game.
And the Titans were not. Now, the Titans have a 2-game sample size with Cam Ward. They were in one game. They were not in the other.
They were in the Rams game until they did the thing that just let the Rams separate. Like, they were not blown off the field in the Rams game.
In the second half, they were blown off the field.
In the second half, they were.
Yes. Well, that's their issue, right? They stall out. They stall out in the second half. So again, that's also a metric. Like, do you perform? Can you perform consistently through 4 quarters of a football game instead of saying, well, wow, we were really in it late in the third. Okay.
Yeah.
There's 4 quarters, bud. Like, and here's the thing, and I don't think it's an unfair thing for you to point out, like, we don't expect them to win football games this year. Yeah, but Lucas, they're welcome to surprise us. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are welcome to show us something more than we all expect them to be dog water.
Of course they are.
Okay, but they don't. When have they done that? People used to associate the Titans, and I'm not just doing this because coaching staff versus coaching staff, but people used to associate the Titans with winning games they had absolutely no business winning. You're allowed to do that in the NFL. They don't. They don't ever. And that is the thing that I think has a lot of people held up on this situation. Just show us one time that you're going to do something different than we expect you to do, because all people expect them to do is go out there and lose. 615-737-1045. is how you get involved. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is how you make your comments known via the F&M Bank chat. Brian Callahan, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, so much of his evaluation, too, is going to be the game-to-game improvement of Cam Ward, right? What Cam Ward looks like in November as opposed to now. Did you see this stat from Jim Wyatt? He put it out there right before Callahan's presser. That Cam Ward is the only quarterback drafted number 1 overall to not throw an interception in either of his first 2 starts. Isn't that crazy? In NFL history.
Yeah, but he's got 2 fumbles.
He does have 2 fumbles.
So it's not like he's turnover free. If he was turnover free, then it's I love Jimmy, but that's good PR. Joe is in Bowling Green up next. Go ahead, Joe.
I think you guys hit on a key point with coaching. These one-score games, NFL is a one-score game league predominantly. We're 2-9 under Callahan. So are you managing the end game very well? Obviously, we know there were some problems in the first game. I looked at Vrabel. Vrabel was 30-23 in one-score games, 4th best in the AFC during his tenure. We are now 2-9. So you guys have hit on a key point as far as coaching. Coaching is situational to make sure your team is in the best position to win the game. And I'm just not seeing it, guys.
Yeah, and to your point, Joe, like they're not in enough situations to prove that because often, at least last year, they were getting run off the field. So like situational football is lost when your special teams unit is as toxic as theirs was, or when your quarterback is as toxic as his was.
This year, though, let's talk about this year. They were in a situation to prove that in week 1.
And they didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And they didn't get themselves into a situation to prove that by being, the fumble and then all the momentum's on the Rams side and going into the fourth quarter. Yeah, it's a 2-score game, but the Los Angeles Rams aren't going to give up a 2-score lead at Nissan Stadium at that point. So this season, they did put themselves in position to prove that in week 1, and they were unable to do it. So those opportunities are going to be at such a premium for them this year because there are going to be games where they're just outmatched. And no matter who they have on the sideline, X team is just going to beat the Titans on any given day, like the Rams. Ex-Super Bowl contender, whether it's the Chiefs down the line or the Chargers or whoever. But when those opportunities pop up, can you be the difference?
Indy's got an efficient, well-executed offense with a quarterback that we all know to be bad across his entire career. And they figured out how to make him a plus. Like that, Indy was a better football team than they were last year. Like they won 8 games with Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco. Like they deserve credit for that. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. They shouldn't. There are examples all over the sport where you have coaches that can give you an advantage that way, or at least keep you in game.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we've seen time and time again where they're either not in a situation to even be competitive. Or they're in a situation where they have the ability to step on somebody's neck and they don't.
Such Tannehill vibes in Indy. Oh, how that's going down.
Oh, you think? Because, the benching
like
obviously with Mariota came in week 6.
They bring him in, and I guess they brought Tannehill in to be Marcus's backup, whereas the Colts brought in Jones to directly compete with Richardson. But you bring in the veteran that just kind of flamed out at the place that drafted him as a first-round pick, a top 10 pick, to come in and join the quarterback room with your top 5 pick that you took. And doesn't look like they're going to be looking back the way the Titans didn't look back once Tannehill just took off.
Tannehill's that's probably who's the last quarterback that came in and did something like that. I mean, I guess it would have been Flacco with the Browns,
right? Like since Tannehill, you mean?
Yeah, because Flacco was comeback player of the year. Tannehill was comeback player of the year.
Because it's a great example. Tannehill came in, rostered, solid bones of the roster, great running back, like. Good defense.
Colts to the AFC Championship game.
I mean, Daniel Jones comes in. A lot of those similar elements. We'll see. It's 2 weeks, but we'll see.
Again, you are welcome to make them look mortal on Sunday. Do your worst.
They were not able to affect the quarterback much against the Broncos. The Broncos have a good offensive line, but we'll see.
Last call for phone calls. If you got them, show went fast. 615-737-1045. The number. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Last call for phone calls. If you got them, I'm going to head out to practice. Cam Ward's going to talk a little later. That'll probably happen at some point during Blaine and Zach, I would imagine, before 3HL, depending on Cam Ward's post-practice routine. Let's go to Barry, who's in Manchester.
Hey, Bud.
Hey.
I'd just like to know who is actually calling the plays, Nick or is it Brian?
Brian.
Okay, then Brian needs to stop calling the plays.
Okay.
And he needs to let his OC do the job. And I think he's over his head. I think he's trying to learn how to be a head coach, and it's overwhelming him trying to do everything.
Well, Barry, I'm sure that a lot of people share that sentiment, and thank you for the call. I don't know. If he gives up play calling, then there's, I mean...
If Brian,
what is it that you say that you do here, Brian Callahan?
If he gives up play calling, or if there's an onus to give up play calling, then it's over. Like Brian Callahan was brought in to be a play calling head coach.
Yeah, because that's what works, or that's what has had success in helping teams keep continuity when offensive coordinators leave to go get other jobs, like Brian Callahan left Cincinnati.
And he's not the first head coach to be a first-time play caller. Like Sean McVay had never called plays until he got the Rams job. It has worked before across the NFL, but that's why he was brought in here. I hear that a lot. Well, he needs to give up play calling. To me, the moment Brian Callahan gives up offensive play calling,
you
it's
can
over.
fire him.
It's over.
Yeah, like Fitzy said yesterday, if you find somebody who speaks Cam Ward better than Brian Callahan does, then you can fire him.
But he's here to call
that's not
plays.
a reason for him to not, that's not a reason for him to not just to hang on to his job, like for survival purposes would be the counter to that. But I don't know that Nick Holtz is an improvement. I don't know that Nick Holtz is not an improvement. You know what I'm saying?
Who would also be a first-time play caller.
Yes. Now, there is, Nick Holtz is helping Brian Callahan figure out what play to call. Like, it is a conjunctive effort.
The way Callahan was with Zach Taylor.
Correct. And that's not the first, right? That's offensive coordinators, even if they are solely offensive coordinators, if you're on the ground, you probably have somebody up in the booth helping you. Bill Callahan's got a headset because he's helping with the run game calls. Like, that's what this is. So it's never just one person. They are all collectively involved in determining which play that they put in that week makes the most sense in that particular situation. Brian's just the one that has final say on what to pull the trigger on. So if they're bad at it, they're collectively bad at it. It's not just him. We haven't done polls, I feel like, for the first 2 days of the week. You want to give ourselves a little more room to do some polls?
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. What is the dumbest thing in sports this week? JW, I add his Twitter handle is JWTNVol, says Vanderbilt thinking they actually have a good team.
They do.
Careful, JW. Careful. They might not be a playoff team.
Don't mock them.
But it's a good team.
If you think Tennessee's got a playoff team and they come to town in a couple of weeks and they give you something you don't like.
Again, the biggest benefit of when Tennessee plays Vanderbilt is that it's the last game of the year. Did you see Diego Pavia throwing himself into defenders the other day? Like, love it. Love the moxie. It's what makes him great.
Let's see if he's still in one piece.
That was the hardest block I've ever seen a quarterback throw in my life. And it's great. It gets you fired up. But how does that look in late November? We'll see. It cost them last year. They're a little bit better up front this year, though. Karen says Dabo Swinney thinking he can't be touched at Clemson.
It's not that he can't be. It's that he shouldn't be, right? Like, Dabo is not a problem. It's not Dabo that's not executing at a high enough level. Cade Klubnik has
I could argue Dabo is not executing his job at a high enough level because of his philosophies.
Okay.
Like, they are not as good as they could be because of the way he chooses to do things.
That's fair.
But Dabo Swinney is still Clemson football.
Like, he's going to get a job right away.
Yeah. Which That would be so interesting what the market for Dabo would be like, given the current state of college football.
I think somebody
for
would hire
so
him.
long, he was the automatic replacement of Nick Saban.
Yeah.
For so long. Alabama alum, Pelham, Alabama native. Which SEC fan base has the best vibes right now? UW says Georgia because they made it out of Neyland with a win. Brian says Tennessee. They were a play away against Georgia, and many said they would take a step back this year. Karen says Vandy. Nick says Vandy. Got to be at an all-time high in vibes. Jake says Georgia, OU, and A&M. He says it can't be Vandy because they don't have enough fans to have vibes.
Which is a criticism that I think many other SEC fan bases would point out. Well, there's just more of us. So A&M.
It's just so interesting, man. The A&M fans riding high right now. Vandy fans, Tennessee fans, despite the loss, are feeling good.
You said you felt better about your team Monday than you did Friday.
And it's the Texas fans, the Bama fans, the Florida fans. Even LSU fans are a little like, oh, okay, are we good? That we're all right there at the top when it came to expectations. South Carolina, another one of those. It's been such a fascinating start to the season. Can Clemson do better than Dabo? 77% say no, they can't.
Yeah, 70% seems strong. Like, you don't know who's coming down the line, but, like, Dabo, experience matters in those kind of jobs. Dabo's got plenty of experience. How he adjusts is a huge part of his legacy, though, moving forward. They can't just grift off the national title that they won many, many years ago.
This is by far the most we've ever talked about Clemson football on the show. Their schedule lightens up significantly down the stretch. They don't have another, as of now, outside of Florida State, they don't have another currently ranked team on their schedule. So we'll see. That South Carolina game at the end could be interesting between two teams that, to that point, will probably have underachieved greatly. What do you need to see from Brian Callahan to want him back next season? Kim says wins and better play calling. Jim says wins. John says, I need to feel like he's helping Cam Ward grow. It's early, but right now it's starting to feel like Ward will outplay the coaching staff and will need a new head coach. Brian says, I'm not putting this season on Callahan. UW says, points show me hope. You can have an exciting brand of football and it not translate to the record column. Bob says, discipline.
Yeah, all of those. One of those would be lovely. What, Robert?
I feel like people can say, like, yes, play calling needs to be better, but even if it was better, we wouldn't know it. We would know. We would need someone else to tell us that the plays were better.
The play call, the play call would be great, but Calvin Ridley drops the ball.
Yeah, or something happens. It's like I feel like that's such a crutch for people. Like, oh, play calling needs to be better. It's like, okay, but you don't know the cycle anyway. Like, even if it was better, even if they called the perfect play, you wouldn't know because you can't see the whole field.
Yes, you are correct about that.
Those polls?
Those are the polls.
Excellent. That's the show. Prime time tonight. We'll talk more about whatever Cam Ward says at the podium because his press conference will be later this afternoon. We'll see you there at 7 p.m. Two Rivers Ford is asking for your help collecting non-perishable food items to benefit Second Harvest Food Bank and the Mount Juliet Help Center as they help to feed those who need it most in our community. Here's how easy it is. Next time you're at the grocery store, pick up a couple of extra cans of food like canned tuna, chicken or salmon, protein bars, low-sodium soups or chili, dried beans or rice, or boxes of cereal, anything that can be stored and served over the next few months, and then drop it by the dealership in the F-150 displayed right up front in the lobby. I promise you can't miss it. And you have until the end of the month to do that, just that. Between now and September the 30th is when Two Rivers Ford is going to be continuing to help donate items to Second Harvest Food Bank and the Mount Juliet Help Center. It's all part of Ford Motor Company's Global Caring Month and the world's largest dealership.
Part of who we are. There is joy in work. And no matter what size your business is, the dedicated commercial team at Two Rivers Ford will find the work trucks and vans that keep your business moving. And Two Rivers is the only dealer that offers a 90-day free fleet management program that can help you save money on every single mile. The Commercial Vehicle Center at Two Rivers Ford. We work for you.